Hello, Big Geeks! Merry fucking Christmas! And this video is demonetized instantly. I've messed up. Brad, take over.
I'm not going to swear because we need the money. You see the amount of lights I've got on in my house. I need to pay my electricity bill.
Yeah, you brought this light round for our Christmas video that we filmed this week, and you were like, cool, "It's the only Christmas decoration you have." Is that right? Yeah. Let's go full screen on Brad for a second.
Yeah. There you go. So I've got, obviously this going on. Oh, I've come as, it doesn't make any sense now, but we did have John McClane in Die Hard as our screensaver, but I think that might not have appeared at the beginning. But I've come as John Rambo instead.
All the famously Christmassy people will be appearing. John McClane, John Rambo.
Bradbo.
Girl? I don't know.
You could be Jason Statham.
I probably could. I prefer that to who I usually get compared to, who I won't say. In fact, people in the comments can guess. Tell us. Welcome to the annual Christmas live show. That was a serious long drop intro there. This is our annual tradition where we like to get together, or indeed not quite get together, and have a good old sing-song by the Christmas tree and drink a lot of very silly Christmas ales. So hopefully lots and lots of you have got hold of the box. I don't actually know how many were sold in the end, and I know there was some substitution. So if we say we're going to drink this and you don't have it, let me know, and we can tell you what the nearest equivalent beer is. So thank you so much for joining us. In the comments, it's already kicking off. Just say, hey, tell us what you're drinking. And Brad, shall we crack our first beer?
Mate, I am gasping. I need to drink this beer. We're starting with Lervig, aren't we, Johnny? I'll hold it up. You tell us about it.
There you go. So this is Holiday Haze. Let me get the drinking order up. So we're starting with Lervig Holiday Haze. Then we have Don Zyko first. Then we have White Hag Eggnog. Then we have Boone Creek. Then we have St. Bernardus Christmas. I've put 12 because I'm an idiot. And then I'm going to Apollo in plenty. And then we pass out. I think that's just about the order of the day.
Johnny, this is very Christmassy. We already have a super chat.
Oh, good Lord, do we? I was busy looking at banners. Crikey. There we go. Joshua Meller, thank you so much. Bring me festive ale and much pie. My liver is ripe for the pickling. Which beer are we most excited to drink tonight? I'm most excited to see other people drink the eggnog. But I'm most excited about the St. Bernardus Christmas because it's one of my Christmas traditions, one of my favourite beers. We're going to kick off proceedings. We have special guests tonight. We quite often have guests, but maybe none as special as this. So we're going to be joined by Ned the Sneb Palmer, the Cheese Whisperer, in about just under half an hour. And then we are going to be joined by some of the best beer tubers in the world at about 9:15. So that should be lots of fun. I can see that Simon's in the comments. Oh, and so is Ollie. Rob will be joining us soon, I'm sure. Right. Bradley, I haven't even poured this beer. Tell me about this beer. What are you getting?
It's wet, Johnny. It's cold. It's a good easing us in kind of beer. We're going to get pretty heavy pretty quick here. My hat might fly off at some point with the crazy shit we're drinking.
I don't want to, do you down there, Brad, but that's not a hat.
Mate, you can make anything a hat if you try hard enough.
Story for life, that one.
Like MacGyver.
Ollie sent us a $5 and said, here's the appearance fee you asked for.
Oh.
Thanks, Ollie. I meant that we'd pay you a $5, but no, let's do it this way. So yeah, we're getting loads of super chats in before I've even introduced what super chat is. Everyone's feeling festive and generous at Christmas, apparently. So super chat is a thing that you can do on YouTube where you can throw us a little tip, and then we will answer your comment at the very next available opportunity. It might not be straight away, but we will get to it. We promise. So you can do that and make sure that you get your questions answered, but do just keep putting questions in the comments as well. We will come back to JBM's question in one hot second. So guys, you should be cracking the Lervig beer. It's a Galaxy and Mosaic New England Pale Ale, I believe, with a touch of lactose. So if you're a vegan, probably don't drink this. Passion fruit's what I get from this.
Yeah, definitely on the nose.
Yeah. which is not a mosaic thing. So clearly, it's a Galaxy thing.
Maybe it's got that kind of sweetness, a little bit of the sweetness you get with like a lactose kind of vibe, but it's not like crazy lactose.
Yeah, clearly very restrained, just adding a little bit of body. I mean, it could well be that when they brewed it, they found it a little bit thin or it got a little bit over dry, and they were like, well, if we put a little bit of lactose in, we can bring that right back into balance.
DD.
It's tasting delicious, actually. I don't know why I didn't pour the whole can of that one.
Yeah,
we should say tonight is a boozy one. We've got 6 beers, 2 of which are over 10%. So please don't feel that you have to drink every single beer that we do, but we will be talking about all of them. Of course, if you want to drink all of them or you're sharing, then join in the fun. I'm looking forward to what Brad's going to look like by the end of this one. It could be fun.
I've got all sorts of hats on standby and other props throughout the evening. I think that's a great beer. Going back to JBM Travel's question,
yes,
worst craft beer you've ever had? For me, it was the other half one that was like just so pastry stout. It was
my mama's recipe for. No, it wasn't a pastry stout. It was a sour.
Sorry, the sour thing with like pecan.
A lactose sour with pumpkin, maple syrup, pecan, cinnamon. Something else. It was just rancid.
Just all over the shop, wasn't it? It was way too angular, like, and it made me feel a bit sick when I put it in my mouth, Johnny, which is never a good start.
And really, like out of balance, like Brad says. No conditioning to it. Like the head disappeared immediately. The bubbles were huge. It kind of bit at your tongue. It was just all kinds of awful. The Hudson one we had quite recently was also disgusting, but at least it was a well-made beer underneath. Like it still had lovely carbonation, rich body. You know, it was a beer that was clearly designed to taste and look and smell like that, even if we hated it. Whereas the other half one should never have been released. Should never have seen the light of day.
Ugly half. It was the ugly half.
Yeah, the worst half. Matt Sommer, thank you so much for your super chat. It's 2 p.m. in the USA and you can't get the box out here. I'm sorry, man, but let us know what you're drinking if you're drinking so far. 2 p.m. on a Saturday, we could be drinking, couldn't we? No shame in that.
Big time. Happy holidays.
Ryan Corbett says, just to brag a bit, I got Bissell Brothers and Notch from my local store for this. You are living. Those are 2 of my favorite breweries in the States.
Nice.
Absolutely glorious brewing. We've got another super chat. How many mince pies is appropriate to eat across the course of this evening? I think for every beer, you can have a mince pie. 6.
Shit. Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't got any mince pies in.
What?
I'm an absolute wally. I've gone big on the cheese. And I sort of went shopping when I was too full up.
I've got my apple cake mince pies.
Ah, there you go.
They're not really.
I didn't even see any mince pies when I went shopping today.
So they sold out in South London.
Yeah, South London. They're pretty big in the south. They're they're a real Christmas institution in the south.
I was just watching today. I was watching a TV show and it's called A Tudor Christmas, presented by a lady I've never seen before, but she was quite funny. And it had Jager Wise on, head brewer of Wildcard Brewery up in Tottenham. And she was making them a gruit. So it's basically a beer that's made with a collection of spices and herbs instead of hops. And that's what a lot of them would be drinking there. They had hops by then in Henry VIII's reign. But we were suspicious of them because they were foreign. We weren't growing them yet. Why did I tell you that? Because they made a real mince pie, which had mince in. Although actually mince is the process of chopping, apparently. So mince isn't to do with the meat. But they did have it in their mince pies. So it was all fruit and then mince. Apparently they used to mix their puddings and their savoury dishes in Tudor times. They didn't separate them. So that trifle that's made in Friends would have fitted right in.
I blame Henry VIII for that. Big boy. He was a fat bastard. I reckon he was like, just put some meat in that black dessert. I want meat in my dessert as well.
That sounds like a Brad thing to say. Right, guys, so we're going to go into the comments in a second, have a little dig around. Just before we do, we'd love to hear what your Christmas traditions are. That's going to be our first question, our first bit of interaction. What thing do you make sure you do every single Christmas without fail. We're not just talking like, oh, we always have a turkey or something a bit different, something a bit unusual. Mine is that instead of Bucks Fizz, I like to have a triple and orange juice.
Nice.
That works really well. I used to have the Deus. Deus have a champagne fermented beer, but now they're AB InBev. I haven't bought that since. And I also drink Unser Aventinus, which is a Weiss beer from Schneider Weiss, with a mince pie at some point every day. Although I don't think it was on Beer Merchants. So I'm a little bit worried about that tradition. That might die this year, but there we go. We've got another super chat somewhere, and I can't find it. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's just Ian Underhill wishing all involved a Merry Christmas.
Oh, Ian, bless you.
Right. Let's dive into some comments and see what's happening. He's right. That's not a hat. Yep.
Come on, John. Friends.
Glad spitting straight facts. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but that won't last. Thoughts on Neon Raptor? Any plans to do a live event or video with them? So the truth with Neon Raptor with me is that I haven't had their beers for a couple of years because I had a couple maybe 2 years ago that were terrible. Like absolute drain pours, and I haven't gone back. But I have heard that they are massively improved and have been making good stuff. So no plans to do anything with them yet, but we will give them another chance. I'll pick up some cans or get them on draft if pubs open ever again.
We just got another super chat, Johnny.
Oh, good Lord.
It's a crazy, crazy super chat of an evening, eh?
Right, Sam Congdon of Vessel Beer Shop. Warmed up with a St. Bernardus 12. Yeah, it's ABT 12 day. So that's the quad made by St. Bernardus. Their big 10.4% Belgian quad. Today's like the national day that they celebrate it. And everybody's supposed to drink it. I think there's even a rival stream with St. Bernardus happening right now. Not sure whether I should have said that. We'll watch the views drop off as people go, legit.
I heard they'd already missed it. The stream was a while ago.
Yeah, I think it's over. It's finished now. Definitely finished. That's a strong warm-up, Sam. Maybe that's why you're being so generous so early on. If you forget whether you have given us a super chat, you didn't. See if that works. Oh, crikey, another one. Cascadia. Hey, wow, Beer Podcast. I don't know you guys. I will make sure I look your podcast up. Thanks for another year of great content. I hope we can have a couple of pints when we can travel through DC. Shout out to friends of the podcast, Hot Burns Black. I don't know whether they're watching. They do a great little show every Friday. I don't know whether they're still doing that with this one. This lockdown. We would also love to know what's happening with you guys around the world. Are you in lockdown? Are the pubs opening? Because in the UK, we're still struggling. We really are. But hopefully the end is now in sight. Pubs are currently open in London. Brad and I have seen each other, but for how long, we don't know.
I was in the pub last night, mate. I'm a little bit hanging, to be honest. But I had a great substantial meal in Royal Albert in New Cross, one of my favorites.
You're not being sarcastic by saying you had a Scotch egg. You actually had a substantial meal.
I actually had a substantial meal last night. Yeah. It was a lovely herby sausage and mash, and it was exquisite. It came with Brussels sprouts as the sort of trimmings, which I thought was a nice crimbo touch, and I approved it. I'm not a massive sprouts guy, but sprouts with bacon, amazing, shredded up with bacon. But these were like, just right in there. They were great. Loved it.
There you go. Brad and his favourite pub. Making eggnog and mince pies from scratch. Do you remember last year we made eggnog from scratch, and for the Christmas live show, and I was literally Googling the recipe and making it with like 10 minutes to go. And it was delicious. I don't know whether eggnog's easy or whether it was a Christmas miracle.
Man, I want to crack the eggnog now. All this talk of eggnog, but we've got to be strong.
It's the next beer. It's also so that beer appears in our Christmas video, which goes live on Wednesday. It's an interesting beer. Put it that way.
Yeah,
very interesting beer.
That's a great jumper you got on, Johnny.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh God, I've got too many banners for people to see. 1 second. There we go. Our merch store is now open. There's still time to get stuff before Christmas. We're basically just trying to get sued. Is essentially our business model for
you
this.
Want to look like a sort of hipster pirate, maybe go for a Milton Glaser t-shirt. If you want to look like a cool skater dude, go for a Beer Wiser hoodie. That's what I'd suggest.
When I presented the Guild of British Beer Writers Awards on Thursday, and I was trying to work out what to wear, and I nearly wore this, and then I remembered that it was one of the sponsors. Yeah, I was like, shouldn't wear this. That could be a real shortcut to a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Luckily, I did clock that one. Right, back into the comments. What's the worst pub or bar you've been to? That's a cracker.
Edmund White just said, "What? Sorry, just tuned in. What's the first beer?" Edmund, it's the Lervig.
We're on the Lervig Holiday Haze.
The hazy boy. Get involved.
I can tell you, one of the worst pubs I've ever been to was one I worked in. So when I was paying my way through uni, I worked at a pub called the Boundary House in Abingdon, just south of Oxford. And it used to be quite a nice pub. It did all right food. It was a Green King pub, so it never had good beer. But a pint of Green King IPA was £2.20 when I was working there. No, wow. £2.15. Wow. And it went up to £2.20 and a load of people grumbled. If only they could see into the future. But it got taken over by the two most horrible humans I think I've ever met. And they tried to fire me because I didn't bring enough plates in from the garden one summer, and so I quit. Wow. They shouted at me in the bar. I was stood there with plates in front of all the customers, was shouting at me that it was my last chance because I hadn't brought in enough plates.
Very grown up of them to embarrass their employee like that.
It was a nasty place to work and indeed to drink. I don't know what it's like now. Now it's become like one of those bars where bigger than the sign that says the name of the pub is like the meal offers. So it looks like it's called like the 2-for-1 steak rather than the Boundary House. That's what it's got to. When is the Don Zoco live event coming? We would 100% do that. The problem with Reese is he's never got more than like 3 beers available. So maybe we could do a Don Zoco and friends. Like he could team up. We could team him up with another brewery and like get 6 beers together to do a live show for. And I think great beer. Sorry, say again?
No, I was just going to say those 3 beers would be so delicious that we'd be quite happy just drinking 3 of each.
Yeah, we could just get 2 of each and just keep drinking them. We could get variation through the snacks because he sends free crisps with every online order. Sometimes Space Invaders, chip sticks. I got Frazzles. It's a great little offer. Maybe, I mean, that's right up our street. Thinking about it, we should do that.
Big time. We'll get on that.
Time.
Reese's
are actually berry cabbages. That's
a fact.
There you go.
Cowboy in Sweden.
First.
Yeah, you know the score.
Some bleak tier news. Tasting rooms are open at breweries here in British Columbia. Hey, there you go. Good for you. Enjoy it while it lasts. Let's have a further look. Brad, have you got a Christmas tradition while I'm digging out some comments?
Well, I could tell you about my worst bar experience rather than my Christmas tradition, which it wasn't the worst bar. It was a bar I used to frequent a lot, which was Crowbar in Soho, which is a heavy metal bar. Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. I was pretty gutted about that. I mean, it's not somewhere I regularly go now, despite the fact I look like I'm in a sort of hair metal band this evening. But I used to love going in there. But one evening, I was in there very drunk, as usual. Had a great jukebox, always amazing music. Cool, like really friendly metalers. Metalers are the best. They're so friendly. And I met this guy who was wearing what I can only describe as a sort of man from Del Monte linen suit and a Panama hat.
Like something out of Poirot.
Yeah, more like something out of Hannibal. We got talking for a little bit, and then he started getting really, really weird. and not aggressive, but he was very odd. He kept sort of trying to turn the subject to very, very dark places. And I think I met. He was either a cannibal or like a serial killer or something. And I think he was trying to murder me, Johnny. But I managed to get away.
Did you go to a second location? Because that's the worst thing you can do, right?
No. As soon as he started talking to me, he was like, because I'll talk to most people, as anyone who's possibly met me might know. I can have a chat with anyone, really. And I probably went, nice Panama hat or something. But he just got really creepy and weird. And it kind of scared me off from going to that bar for a while because I didn't want to get murdered. But that was my worst bar experience.
You just stayed there waiting for you to come back, like next time.
No, I think he probably did some other horrible shit to someone else, maybe. But yeah, that was weird.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. And it's sad that it's gone. It was great. Soho's a bit buggered now, to be honest, but it used to be amazing.
Yeah, well, it's going to really struggle because people aren't going to the office anymore. Cohen Juice. Sorry you're late. Don't be. I like your magnet. No, Magent. Is that meant to be magnet?
Magnet.
Did you show a magnet?
Cohen, are you talking about this magnet?
So this was our Christmas present to our $10 Patreons. You can join our Patreon and support all the content that we make. Last year, you got a tasting glass. This year, a beautiful Brad designed fridge magnet.
Yeah, it's
useful for 2021 in case it goes the way this year has.
Yeah, this is a proper like engraved industrial sign that I commissioned a guy that I think he uses like really old machinery to make these, and he did us a nice small batch. Yeah, which
I don't know how many times he's been approached by just a hipster going, "I want you to put this onto 80 to 100 bits of plastic, please." Usually, it's probably a one-off order, just saying like toilets this way.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. Normally they are sort of very functional rather than high concept. I'm not calling that high concept, but there is some thought behind it.
I think you're doing yourself.
You got your cooler there, Johnny, with it glued on the top because that looks awesome.
It's not near me.
No worries.
It's in the kitchen, but we can come back to it. Ben Grimes says he's excited for the Allagash drop. So yeah, I don't know whether it's sold out, but Cloudwater have managed to persuade Allagash to export. They never export, only for really special events, like when Cantillon wants to do an event with them. So I immediately bought a load, and so should you if you still can, if it's still there. I'm very excited for that. And we've got another super chat. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for the great content this year, Brad and Johnny. You kept us going through lockdown. You guys have kept us going through lockdown, both mentally and financially. So thank you so much. We've learned a lot this year, pivoting a bit more towards homebrew, telling some sort of long form stories, doing videos that have to be continued. I still remember on the first video we did when I was doing the cask ale at home, and I literally couldn't see Brad at all. So I was doing it all myself. We put to be continued, and there were so many comments being like, wait, what? Like, I'm not emotionally invested for that period of time. I needed payoff now. So apologies to the people that were perturbed by that. More super chats coming in.
Whoa.
Thank you, Victoria. At least lockdown finally got me excited about craft beers. Hey, that's great news. Can't wait to be allowed out to drink them. Yeah, it's a bit funny how I think craft beers, like lots of people got into craft beer during lockdown, but then they can't actually go out and spread the joy and say, hey, I love this now, and actually enjoy it where it's supposed to be enjoyed, which is with friends in beautiful places.
But it's kind of good, right? Because I think a lot of people have had the time to invest in learning new hobbies, whether that's playing a guitar or, whatever, doing, learning to be a better cook or learning about beer and getting pissed off your ass. What we've probably done.
Mr. Brad.
What we might have done in getting so many new converts is sort of created new communities that are going to come up once we're all allowed back out and rejuvenate all of the little independent businesses that have like just about hanging on right now. Once we're all inoculated and whatnot, and we're allowed to move about again, I just hope that all of these new converts are going to come join us, drinking some of the best beers we can get.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we've got one more of these, and then we're going to crack the next beer. And welcome to the show, Ned the Sneb Palmer. He probably dies a little bit inside every time I call him the Sneb. We'll start with JBM Travels. What's the most expensive drink you've had? I remember when I was first getting into beer in like 2011, 2012. I went to Chris Wines, which was a great craft beer shop in Camden. Where basically you had to go because London didn't have so many bottle shops then. And I think I paid about 20 quid for a Macella. It's called Macella Black. It was a beautiful imperial stout. And I don't think I've ever paid anywhere close to that again, except for I bought a Magnum of help me, Brad. Oh, man, and Gaston. I drink in like a big lambic Magnum. That was about 40 quid, but you get a lot more beer in a Magnum.
I mean, the most expensive drink I've ever drunk was going out with my uncle. We used to go out around Christmas time, actually. We tried to make a tradition of it. And he would order to the table bottles of Cristal and Vintage Crew. Which I think I was a younger man, but I clocked them on the. Actually, I don't know if the prices were on there, but I saw them somehow, and they were like 800 quid a bottle, or something wacky like that. He went big, that guy. So
my uncle collects clocks, so
yeah,
the same treatment from him.
Yeah, but I must say I really don't like champagne, but it tasted fucking great, and I don't know if that's because I knew it was so expensive. I don't know, but it tasted wonderful.
Somebody's brought up a good point, which is by milliliter, the Strong Brewdog video that we put out. So that was 40 ml, and we paid. I think we paid about 25 quid for that.
Yeah, I did do the math on that. A pint of that was over. I think it was over £500.
That sounds about right.
For some, what did we decide it tasted like in the end? Soy sauce.
Soy sauce, yeah. I wanted to dip sushi in it. That was the closest comparison I could come up with. It wasn't great, but if I'm going to be really honest with you, it's been great because it's been viewed nearly 180,000 times now, that video.
Yeah.
We gained 2,000 subscribers from that video, and we've got about $500 in advertising revenue. Now, that is more than we'd have got a year. All of those statistics 2 years ago.
Yeah,
just that one video. So... that's kind of nuts. Right, I'm keen to get Ned on. So we're going to crack this beer. So we're on to the eggnog next. I can assure you this would be horrific with cheese. But we will be opening the others to give it a go. So guys, please tell me your reaction to this beer, because it's quite the experience. Whether it's a good or a bad experience. So with that in the glass, let's get Ned on screen. So, oh my God, I can smell that beer from here. Blimey. Switch to this. Get rid of the banner. And welcome, Ned.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Brad.
Hey, Ned.
So,
How are you, man?
why do I have to drink this?
It's a very good question, mate.
Have you got the eggnog?
I do have the eggnog. Yeah, I bought the box like I was told to.
Oh,
It smells interesting, doesn't it? It smells like those foam banana sweets.
I thought the foam milk bottles, but one of them.
More banana-y to me, but yeah.
it's got a bit of like Advocar Snowball vibe to me as well.
Oh yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I could just feel 240 people in the audience going, "Oh no, that's not for me."
It's a bit. I would have liked it actually until a bit when the bitterness came in, and that's a bit disconcerting from the banana.
Yeah, a little bit watery.
I'm quite tempted to try some Stilton with it, but did you guys get Stilton and cheddar?
Well, actually, both of us have thrown a curveball in. So the idea was Ned was going to come on and we'd all bring a cheese to chat about and to beer match. So we're going to throw some curveballs at you if that's all right, Ned.
Okay.
got cheddar
I've
today.
got some cheddar. I've got some cheddar on the go as well, though.
Excellent.
He's always got some cheddar on the go. So Ned, before we get into the beer and cheese matching, please, to anybody that doesn't know you, tell us who you are and tell us about your absolutely amazing book, which was my favourite book this year.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Johnny. So my name's Ned, and I'm a freelance cheesemonger. And I think I have to explain that to everyone because I'm pretty sure I invented it. But what I do for a living is talk about cheese, which is empirically the best job you can possibly have because you get to, well, talk about cheese and eat cheese and drink beer. And I call that research, and it's tax deductible. So that's what I do. And then more recently, I started writing about cheese in a more thorough way. So I wrote this book, which way? Yeah, that way. A Cheesemonger's History of the British Isles, which was out in hardback last year, came out in paperback this year. And it was in the Sunday Times top 10 bestseller list for a week, which is like the weirdest thing I've ever said. I know, right? I was totally shocked about that, actually. Waterstone's Book of the Month, they were very nice about it. So I don't think I really have to explain what it's about, do I? Because it's just what it is.
I mean, I was kind of surprised by how literal the title is. Like, it was literally the history of Britain told through cheese. I thought it would be like, oh, and this region's famous for this region, like all beer and cheese and meat books. Yeah. But it is literally the history of Britain through cheese.
Yeah, well, I've sort of, yeah, you can tell the story of the people through the medium of cheese. It's like tastier and less cringy than the medium of interpretive dance. So I think that's why.
At some point in history, you did a bit of interpretive dance, right?
Well, I did work in the theatre, and in fact, I had a theatre company doing sort of small-scale avant-garde physical theatre, which is only a millimetre away from interpretive dance. I freely admit, but like I said, freelance cheesemongering is a vastly, vastly more enjoyable, tasty thing to do.
I love your sort of backstory and all the sort of different things you've done throughout your life, your exploits.
Yeah, well, I realised this thing when you, if you look at a book and you look at the author thing, it always has, they did this and they did that and they did this, and I think it's because they were trying to put off actually writing a book. Because I've been wanting to write one since I was 6, except I thought I was going to write another Lord of the Rings or something, or like philosophical text. But I wrote a book about cheese. I've been inducted into the Guild of Cheese Graders.
Whoa. Into the books of cheese graders?
There's a Guild of Cheese Graders. But I thought I was going to be in the Guild of Assassins or the Guild of Thieves. But no.
Surely that's top secret, Ned. You shouldn't be telling us this.
Oh, they're going to come to me, with the cheese irons in the night. Yeah.
There's a special everything, I imagine.
Well, yeah. The initiation ceremony was that we ate a shed load of cheese, more than you could possibly believe.
Cheese dreams.
Yeah. I don't know what people mean by that because I've been eating this much cheese for 20 years. There's a comment here.
Yes, well, sorry, I actually clicked on the wrong one. We'll come back to Ben's question because we haven't shown our cheeses yet.
Yeah.
And while that's a horrible phrase, do you want to go first, Ned? Tell us what you've brought as the expert.
Well, because I said that I was going to bring cheddar and Stilton. Oh, yeah, I also introduced you because I've been doing online cheese tastings. And us online freelance cheesemongers have developed a new technology. Right, it's quite something. You ready? It's called Cheese Cam. You ready? Yeah. Quite techy. There we go.
Cheese Cam. Look at that.
So what I've got is a piece of Lincoln Chipotle, but it's their double barreled, it's extra aged.
Oof.
Just gorgeous. It's the love child of cheddar and Gruyere. So it's a mix of like Swiss mountain cheese and cheddar. And I've got some Colston Bassett Stilton, which is just really, really gorgeous. Fondanty, creamy Stilton with a lovely distribution of blue, lovely colour on the back. We call that baboon's bum when it's really nice and white. Like that. And these are from the Darlington Cheese and Wine Shop, which is a really fantastic cheesemonger. But before we leave Cheese Cam, I thought you might be worried that this is my Christmas cheese. This isn't my Christmas cheese. This is my Christmas cheese.
Whoa!
So that's a kilo of Kirkham's Lancashire to have as a Christmas cake, a kilo of Stilton, which is the unpasteurised Stilton style, a Winslade, which is like a British Vacherin, Tunworth, which is a British Camembert, St Andrews, East Coast Scottish cheddar, very lovely, and a whole vacherin. There,
Wow.
that's my Christmas cheese. My parents-in-law think it's our Christmas cheese, but it's my Christmas cheese. And we're back in the room.
Ned,
So what do you think of cheese cam?
I love cheese cam. I think I don't want to derail the conversation.
Yeah.
Tony, what are your thoughts on cheese cam? And then come back to me because I spotted something.
I love cheese cam, but I'm more interested in what you're about to do.
Yeah.
So
what did you spot?
I think I had an Antiques Roadshow moment there. Your cheese board has got a little carved mouse on it.
It does.
Is that
And
a mouseman? Is that a mouseman thing?
I don't know. It's
Are you aware of
my...
Mouseman? I think he's called
No.
Mouseman. He carved lots of bits of wood, small bits of wooden like objet d'art and stuff or whatever, big bits of furniture as well. And he put a little mouse carved in on and everything. It's been on Antiques Roadshow quite a lot.
Wow.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
This is my parents-in-law's wedding present. Obviously, they got more than one wedding present. And they've been married 56 years. So I don't know, would he be...
Yeah.
Would that be right?
Yeah. He's
And
like,
on a fortune. Is this worth loads of money, Brad?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It'd be a shame if it disappeared. All of it's disappeared.
That's cool. But I mean, more amazing was your Christmas cheese board. How many people are at Ned's Christmas cheese fest?
4.
Whoa.
Four
Yeah,
people, yeah, 4.
Wow.
Well, you've got to have enough. I mean, imagine if you didn't have enough. It'd be so awful.
Do you have anything else with your cheese, or are you just sort of solely? Because I eat some weird stuff on Christmas Day. Are you just eating cheese?
Oh, no, there'll be, turkey and forced meatballs and pigs in blankets and sprouts and all of the things. But I think I'm going to move that we eat the cheese first.
Yep.
So I think that's, not even like before dinner or anything, when you've got plenty of appetite.
The cheese starter. I think that should be a thing. Cheese starters.
I think it should. Yeah. Cheese should be taken more seriously than it is.
I think
more
cheese and beer have that in common.
Yeah, don't they just? Yeah. I mean, I actually mean that a bit.
You have for a pint, it's not seen as artisan so much.
No, and I mean, when I was researching the book, it's really hard to find out stuff about the kind of dairy farming history or the dairy history in Britain because the aristocracy of farming is arable, is corn, and that's what the big stuff they always write about. They write about the big wool boom medieval thing, but and I think maybe because cheese was more sort of mostly wasn't a gourmet food like beer. People don't think of beer as they don't equate it to having a fine wine, but some of those beers you're talking about, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think
it's amazing taste.
Beer was mostly made in the home, by roosters, by the wives at home, many centuries ago. And I think cheese was quite similar as well. There were homemade cheeses and people that were good.
Yeah, well, totally. I mean, it was the women who made cheese vastly up until the 18th or 19th century, apart from the monks who often made cheese, often the same ones that were brewing beer. But it was the women's job. And then when it became more of a commodity, it was still women running the dairies. But I think in that sense, it was a sort of domestic product for a long time. You made enough to feed the family and feed the farm hands, sell a bit in the local market. It's a lot like beer, really.
Yeah.
But I think beer was posher. I read about Harold, the last proper English king before these Normans came over. And he had like a golden strainer around his neck. Have you heard this? To strain his beer with? Because it was quite husky. Yeah, but I like the idea that the king had a special gold strainer. So it means it must have been quite posh.
Now you can see the real beer kings are the people that go to beer festivals and they have those necklaces that end in a circle. So they don't hold their glass. They just leave it slopping around while they make notes, shake hands, gesticulate. I don't know what else. So had somebody in the comments ask what the name of the unpasteurized Stilton was. It's Chilton.
Stilton. Yeah, Stilton. So, strictly speaking, we can't even call it unpasteurized Stilton. We have to say it's an unpasteurized Stilton style. because the Stilton makers decided that all Stilton would be pasteurised from the early 90s, I think. So you can't make a Stilton with raw milk and call it Stilton. Stilton milk.
Do the rules of cheese annoy you sometimes? Like stuff like that, where they're yes because it doesn't do that.
It's an interesting point. So a friend of mine is a cheesemaker, was saying he doesn't want a PDO for his cheese, the protected domain of origin, which would fit Festive, because he said it wasn't traditional, because it's not like 200 years ago everyone made cheese in the same way. And also, you've got to change what you do all the time anyway when you're making particularly raw milk cheese. So you could say it's a bit ahistorical or something to say, no, it must be like this. And, but then on the other hand, I don't really want people to make squeezy Stilton in a tube or something.
Yeah.
I love squeezy cheese in a tube, but, it has its place.
I nearly
you bought squeezy cheese?
I nearly bought some inappropriate squeezy cheese this evening, but then I bottled it at the last minute. So I was going to get this smoked cheese that looked like a sort of phallic sausage. It was
Bavarian smoked, Brad. Bavarian smoked.
It was really lowbrow, but I thought, yeah, I was like, I reckon that'd go well with something, and then I bottled it at the last minute. I was like, it's too lowbrow.
For years, I thought that we should do some tasting where we have, that Bavarian smoked and WKD blue, or Velveeta and Foster's. I don't know, but then I thought, well, it actually wouldn't be fun, though, would it?
No,
it would be amusing, but it wouldn't be all that fun.
I just need to hold proceedings for a second, because I think somebody's saying you're sat on a gold there, Ned.
No way!
I am an antique show legend.
That is amazing. That is just around when they got married. That's so. Oh, thank you so much. They're in the other room. They're all sitting there having their tea while I work.
Knowing they're sat on liquid gold, liquid money.
Never sell it. Never sell it, Ned. It's a beautiful thing.
God, no. It's too lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very special.
I'll be angling heavily for that to turn up in the will.
Yeah.
Does that taste? Is that past? So can we have some other beer?
Oh yes, let's move away from the eggnog. That's a good idea. So we're going to move.
I don't know what the SP is, but I thought that the Christmas beer would be nice to taste with the Stilton.
Crack away.
We're allowed to have it.
Brad and I will stick to our order, but if we need to, we'll open the beers. But you drink what you want, Ned. You drink what's going to go. So we're going to move on to the Don Zoco Fest beer.
Then I will too.
So this will be a rich, malty, doughy, brioche, but hopefully quite crisp amber lager. And Ned, the time's come for me to present my cheese to you.
Excellent. I'm so excited.
I'm going to go full screen. So I went to a French cheese shop.
Oh, is that the San Felicien?
It is.
Hey,
look at me and my chops. Now that, with your yeasty, fizzy, lagery, brioche loveliness, will be a really nice thing.
Is that what we're hoping? I'm excited.
Yeah, I'd have it with that Don Zoco. I think that'd be amazing.
I'm going to tell you about the cheese. I was told it's. Oh, sorry, Brad. No, you.
Mine. It's not quite as exotic as yours. And can you tell what that is?
It's Comte.
It is Comte. I love a Comte.
Palmer, everybody.
Oh,
I should act more cool, shouldn't I? I should act like I was
really
cool about it.
Oh, it's Comte. Yeah.
I was going to pick you up. I like both of you up. I was like, I'll get French cheese because neither of those guys will. And then Brad sat down to prepare, and he was like, "I've got a French cheese." But luckily, we chose two different French cheeses.
Brilliant. Well, you chose two absolute crackers.
Although, Johnny, break the fourth wall. You have actually got Comte there, haven't you, as well, mate?
Well, of course, I've got Comte. It's my favourite cheese.
So this This Lincolnshire Poacher, I'm just cutting a bit on my Mouseman vintage cheese board. That's not mine. That's mine. Wow, look at Johnny's. Johnny's got the cheese.
That does look the shit.
What you should do is have it, but have the beer at the same time. Like have the cheese and then put some beer in the mouth for the fizzy, moussey kind of.
I'm gonna have to get it on my finger because it's quite a sharp knife. I don't have a cheese knife. I don't want to lose my tongue live on YouTube. Okay, same time.
Well, cheese first. You don't need to make a mess, Johnny.
Is
it good?
Actually, that cheese is. Oh my god!
Did they tell you what it is?
They said it was a cow's milk with cream in.
That's right. Yeah.
And they said a little bit funky, a little bit salty, but nice and refreshing.
Yeah. It's so the style's called triple creme, and it's a French style where they add extra double cream to the milk, which is something only the French would be so decadent as to do. I love it.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard of adding cream to cheese. Is that quite common?
Well, I think if you were posh, yeah. So it really is true that the posh got the cream, and they would skim cream off the milk to make butter or cream cheese like that, and then they'd make skim milk cheese for their workers, and they'd get the hard skim milk cheese. So I don't think it's not uncommon, but it would be more common for making posh cheese. So people like you, Johnny, elite metropolitan elite people.
That's me for it. Hey, but I'm leaving the metropolitan area, Ned.
What? Where are you going?
I'm moving north into the countryside.
Nice.
I visited my new house today.
Really? Wow.
Up nearest to Cambridge.
Oh, nice. Very lovely.
So I won't be the metropolitan elite anymore. I'll be the yuppie elite. I'll have you know.
Yeah.
Ned, talk me through your cheese and matches. Do you think you can find? Could I just say the Don Zoco beer is stellar as well, considering the unctuousness of that. It cut through beautifully. I still got that lovely bready fest beer kind of note, that rich brown bread, seeded brown loaf kind of note from it, and brought out a little bit of blueberry or something. The cheese combo, a little bit of hoppiness. I think it's Hallertau Blanc. Reese is actually in the comments. Reese, tell me what the hops are, and but yeah, it brought out a really nice hedgerow fruitiness when I had them together. But yes, Ned, tell me about your cheeses and what you're going to try and have with them.
Well, I just poured myself more Don Zoco to eat with this Lincolnshire Poacher. But so Lincolnshire Poacher is not really a conventional cheddar. It really does have a mix of some of the ways they make the cheese are Swiss. So a higher temperature, a difference of bacteria, and you get a lot of sweetness, and you get a more bendy cheese. You can bend a bit of Lincolnshire Poacher. You can't really bend a conventional cheddar, but it's got some of that beefy savouriness of a classic cheddar. So I really love it. It's got instead of traditional cheddar standard cloth and then rubbed in lard, which allows it to breathe. But these guys use a kind of waxy coat, and it means they can mature it for longer. So this, I think, is maybe 24 months. It's quite an age. It's gorgeous. And I'm going to have some with the beer now.
I was Brad and I were down in Borough Market buying cheese for our cheese toasty video, and somebody described Lincolnshire Poacher as the British response to Comté. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice story, actually, and it's all about the British cheese renaissance, which is the fun renaissance, not the Italian one with the statues and the boring and the paintings and all that. It's the cheese renaissance. Because in the 70s, we lost almost all of our tradition. And so people had to go abroad to find traditional cheesemakers who could teach them how to do it proper. This fella called Dougal Campbell, learned to make cheese in Switzerland just because he was skiing and a young fellow and needed to make money so he could carry on skiing. So he started learning cheese making and ended up teaching loads of British cheesemakers how to make. So he taught Simon and Tim Jones, and because he learned in that Swiss environment, that's in fact where they make their cheese. So the whole flavour of this speaks to that history of sort of 70s, 80s Renaissance cheese making.
There you go.
Sometimes it tastes of pineapple. And you cut a whole poacher open and it smells like you've just opened a tin of Del Monte tin pineapple.
Wow.
And it's the most amazing. It's so volatile. It's just incredible. And I was still asking them, how come the pineapple? And they're like, we don't know. We wish we knew because we'd try and make it happen every time, but it just is a thing. Maybe it's the seasonal. I love that. Cheese making's magic. I think it's similar with beer, that there's, unless you really, really, really did it in some really industrial controlled way, there's some give and some magic to it. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, beer has been this, many millennia long battle to rein in nature and make it do exactly what we want.
Yeah.
We still have a magic.
Yeah.
So it's still, sometimes a brewery will release a beer that just has a note that they've never experienced with that hop or that use or those malts before. Still, and so what you're saying about it still being a bit magic is definitely true of wild ferments. Again, Reese, who makes fantastic mixed ferment beer, could probably say that his intention is one thing. What he actually ends up bottling is sometimes
something else,
but equally.
Yeah. So there's a lovely cheesemaker in Devon, another of the Renaissance people called Robin Condon, and he started out trying to make Roquefort, and he tried to copy every single part of the process, like down to scraping bits of mold off the walls of the caves and getting the right sheet. And his cheese is not like Roquefort. It's a very different texture, different flavour. And he said the cheesemaker only guides the milk in the direction it wants to go.
Yeah,
which I think is the same. I love that humility. I think you can't make great cheese unless you're a decent human being. And I also think you can't brew really great beer unless you're a decent human being. And every brewer or cheesemaker I've met has borne that out. I've never met a horrible one. Quite odd, but not horrible.
Endlessly.
Odd is, I'm down with odd.
So is the Don Zoco going really well with the Lincolnshire Poacher or the?
I like it with the Poacher, yeah. And it's interesting you said about that fruity note, because for me, the Poacher brought out the malt in the beer more than, and made me notice that more than when I had it on its own. Maybe, Brad, you'd get it because your Conte is quite.
Tell you what,
a very similar thing.
I don't know if this is going to focus because my face. So what I've got here is I've got a salt and pepper cracker with some Cornish sea salt butter with
double packing, Brad.
With nutty and sweet Comte, and then drinking that, the maltiness and the sort of sweetness of that is just amazing. It's a great combo.
Mm.
They both have a kind of like cashew nut sweetness, like smooth and sweet. Yeah. Both the cheese and the beer. So it's like
somehow this combo here is like making like the best sort of mini cheddar biscuit kind of flavor I've ever had. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? I'm going to try the Stitchelton with the St. Bernardus because that's what I've been waiting all day, and I didn't open it. I've been waiting so long, so I'm just going to do that. So you're just going to have to watch me eat cheese. And
go for it. We'll watch it. We'll even put you full screen. Wait, no, that's me full screen.
Mm.
We missed it.
He's got it in his mug.
Mm.
And now it's in his other mug.
Oh, I like your mug as well. You thought that's another heirloom. My
father-in-law has a glorious collection of a wide variety of Peter tankards.
I don't need to tell you the history of the glass, I'm sure.
Look at this one. It's a promotional mug, promotional tankard for the Sunbeam. Isn't that fantastic?
Wow. Wow.
And then there's this other really nice glass that someone sent me.
Wow. I love that.
I got a message from Neil, who's one of the directors, the Cave Director, who owned Beer Merchants, who sent out the beers, and he sent me a message saying he thoroughly enjoyed. He's found all these heritage glasses from brands from Belgium that just don't exist anymore, and he said he slipped that into a couple of boxes.
Oh, brilliant! I loved it.
You won't quite know what it is if you Google it. It's a wonderful bit of brewing heritage.
I spent all week thinking, don't forget to pack your craft beer channel glass to come up and do the thing, and then I forgot.
It's okay.
I don't know why I told you that. It doesn't improve anything. Yeah, that the St Bernardus and the Stitcherton is quite a thing. It's amazing. So Stitcherton can have this flavour like Hubba Bubba, like that really artificial Hubba Bubba flavour, the one that's like fruity. It's not even a real fruit, it's like that, and it's making the Bernardus have like a strange estery, fruity flavour. And I've never had Bernardus before, so is that in there, or have I just done something weird?
It will definitely be there. It's weirdly, I'm actually doing a lot of research into Christmas beers at the moment because I'm writing a book all about seasonal drinking. So obviously December is all the history of Christmas beer. Stella Artois was a Christmas beer. There's a little fact for you. Chimay Blue was originally a Christmas beer, 1948. They released that as Chimay Beer de Noël. But yeah, so actually Belgian Christmas beers have a lot in common with Scottish Scotch ales. So Scotch ales are generally, they were quite strong amber ales, but because of the temperature in Scotland, they were fermented very cold, so they're actually very clean. So generally, Belgian Christmas beers don't have huge amounts of ester profile, but I think they're starting to increase that again because it's almost like the signature Belgian thing. It's got to have banana, clove, that kind of weird spicy thing. We all say it's Belgian spicy esters, but we never quite know exactly what it is. It's not quite Germanic clove, but it's not coriander. It's a bit of a strange one, but definitely it will be there, just a bit more muted than perhaps their lower ABV beers and their blonde beers.
That was just amazing.
So I might have a bit of the Comté with the Donzoco, seeing as it's double nut.
Oh, so good, so good.
Ned, we had some great questions coming through. Somebody asked, "What are your thoughts on American plastic cheese?" Why don't you muse on that, and I'll find some more.
Well, the thing about America that a lot of people don't realise, including a lot of Americans, sadly, is that they make some absolutely fantastic artisanal cheese in America. They really, really do. And the other funny thing is that they have been making fantastic artisanal cheese in America for about 400 years. Because the first governor of Massachusetts was an East Anglian cheesemaker. Well, his wife was, because, like you said, it's the women who made the cheese. So, in Vermont, they've been making, what's that?
Vermont cheeseheads, aren't they? They're called the cheeseheads.
Yeah, that's what they call them. And so they do have a really great tradition of cheese making, and also, like us, they had the 70s renaissance of sort of art people going and becoming artisan cheesemakers. But they did invent factory cheese in the 1850s. This guy he figured out how to make it to an economy of scale. And then really, unfortunately, they had the Civil War, which is, unfortunate for an awful lot of reasons, but it meant that they needed a lot of gold. And so they started really flooding the English market with this factory cheese. And, in terms of currency exchange, I don't think they were doing it deliberately, but that's what happened. And it meant that we had to change things a bit. And I think we went a bit headed over to a sort of factory way. But I mean, the other thing, the only cheeses that really upset me are the ones that are pretending to be something else. So I love squeezy cheese in the tube, and I hope that doesn't ruin my brand, but I just do. And I love Baby Bell. I love Vache qui rit. I like the undoing them. It's fun, But they're not pretending to be something else. They are what they are. They're reprocessed cheese. But when you have a cheese that sort of says like vintage or mature or something, but it isn't, it's wrapped in plastic and it's block stuff. Like we see now the sort of slightly moody craft beer brands where someone's realised that if you make it taste a bit bitter and give it a funny name, then you can make a few quid or something.
Yep.
And it sounds cynical, but that sort of thing upsets me. The cheese whiz, I mean, cheese you can spray out of the can. That's hilarious.
What do you put on your burger? What's your cheese burger?
Ogle Shield.
Ogle Shield.
Yeah, so that is niche, and that makes me sound like a massive dick.
Is that the one that's really stringy? That's like the melting.
So Ogle Shield is a raclette style. Raclette is the one that and at Borough Market, the fantastic raclette. Yeah. Historically was Ogle Shield, It was invented by Bill Oglethorpe, who's the Yoda to my Luke Skywalker of cheese, because I'm not arrogant at all. And it's just amazing. So it's a wash rind. It's quite funky, but it's not a really strong wash rind, and it melts in the stringy way. So that would be my burger cheese of choice.
Love it. Ned, I love your analogy then as well, because whenever I think of you and your book,
Do you think of me as Luke Skywalker?
I think of, this is what I think your next book should be called, The Cheesemonger's Guide to the Galaxy.
Brad.
Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Come on!
Oh, wow. Well, so here is the thing, because clearly what I want to do is write a whole series, The Cheesemonger's X of Spain, The Cheesemonger's Y of Italy, and I've been running out of words because it can't just be history all the time, but Cheesemonger's Guide to the Galaxy. You know, next year I'm doing the French one, thanks. What was I going to say? It's totally gone.
Something to think about. Whenever I think of you, Ned, I just in my head, I just hear Cheesemonger's Guide to the Galaxy because I'm weird.
When people ask me who my influences are, obviously there are a whole bunch of amazing food writers like B. Wilson and Ruby Dando and Felicity Cloak and people like that. But one of my biggest influences is Douglas Adams, and I had to struggle really hard not to let the book sound like him, and I could see the cadences in it, and I even realised I'd nicked whole metaphors off him. But and it's only because I read them over and over again that I see. So I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that's Douglas. So take that. Yeah, it's a huge influence.
What's your next book, Ned? Are you doing France? Is that?
Yes, I suppose I can say this. Yeah, I got a deal at the beginning of the year to do a cheesemonger's tour of France. And so the idea with that, instead of history, is by region and talking about why it's like terroir, you know, Comté tastes like this because of the mountain, because of the pasture, because of 2,000 years of history, or Cantal is like this, or like Brie is weirdly large for a soft cheese. And I'd never thought about this before until I talked to this incredible French cheesemonger about it. So yeah, I'm traveling around France, eating cheese and talking to cheesemakers and writing about it. I was supposed to be doing it this year, but you know,
what happened, Ned?
Well, it was a global pandemic, Johnny. So I've not managed to turn the reminders off on my phone, and every now and again my phone pings and it says to the Auvergne or to the Ile de France.
Oh,
you know.
We had some of that.
No, it's cool. I mean, I've been relearning my French because it's pretty rusty. And I wrote another book during lockdown called The Cheesemonger's Compendium of the British Isles. Yeah.
There you go.
I've got a very nice editor, so he said, look, you're going to be stuck. You can't go to France. Why don't you just write me another book? Okay. What now? I said, yeah, go on, just write another book. So I did. That will come out next year.
I think there will be a glut of books next year, won't there?
Yeah, it really will. It really will.
A practical question for you. Are you involved with the Cheese Academy? Is it worth joining the course?
I'm peripherally involved, and you know, always mean to be involved more. So I actually did their first, what do you call it, level 1, so that I could teach it, and it's really nerve-wracking because you do an exam, and I was like, what if I don't pass? And I got 99%.
There you go.
So, I was gutted. Well, what did I get wrong? You know? But no, it's brilliant. Do the courses; they're great. They're fantastic. And the great thing is they have different affiliate teachers. So there are people who come from sort of different backgrounds and are then teachers in it. And I think we need more of this. I think it'd be great. It's like the WSET for wine.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have one for beer.
Well, there is.
Do you mean the what's it called with the funny name? What are they called?
Well, you can do the American version, which is Cicerone.
Cicerone, that's what I meant. Yeah.
But Cicerone's interesting because it's actually as much beer based as it is beer serving based. So the reason I've never done it is because I then have to study a lot to do with the actual technology of serving beer, which
Yeah.
a lot of work. So I haven't quite got around to it. But there's also a UK one. You can go to the beer, Institute of Brewing and Distilling in London, and you can get. I think there's 3 levels of study you can do. Although I did hear somebody went on the course who did know a lot about beer and was just learning it to do part 1, so you could do part 2, and was actually correcting the teacher. So I'm not quite sure how excellent that is.
There is an inherent problem with all of this, and part of it is it's so complex that there are opinions.
True.
So I could be taught a course and be disagreeing, and it might be more well, I don't think that the acidity really does that, but that's an argument. I get that, and there's a lot of chat in the cheesemongering community about whether this is okay or not, and I was dying for it because I want there to be a kite mark on the front door of a cheese shop or a deli, so that that they will treat the cheese right and have good knowledge and cut everything correctly and do the right things, and that people would be led to that. But some of my mates have made the point that, well, once you got the mark, maybe then your standards could slip. You'd have that thing up on your door, and I don't always go to cask mark pubs and think, really?
Yeah.
Is that working? Sometimes the beer's a bit sour.
Yep.
And I don't think that's wrong.
Always a mark of quality, sadly.
I mean, and it's not necessarily a fault of the system. It's just how well people keep it up. But inherently, through the course, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Ned, we're running out of time. Is there anything you want to add? Because otherwise I've got some questions I can sling your way.
Yes, I will just say that I went on to the In Plenty, and I don't normally hold with stuff with bits in it. So all this business with the cocoa nibs and the things in it is absolutely gorgeous. My God. And I had it with the Sitchelton, because I like having really dark beer with Sitchelton, and it's just amazing. Whew.
Have you been having a cozy afternoon?
Lot of things.
Have you been having a cozy afternoon? Just you locked away in a room with a portrait behind you, just supping on tasty beer and eating cheese?
Yeah.
Off of an heirloom.
Awful.
Antique right there.
What a world! What a world you inhabit. Okay, so 5. Oh, sorry, Ned, go.
Well, I actually used to dig ditches for a living. After I did my philosophy degree, I was a builder's labourer, and I did dig ditches. And so I can tell you empirically that talking about cheese is better than digging ditches for a living.
There you go. I think that's a saying that's going to go down in the ages on your tombstone. And other websites that have famous quotes from famous people.
Ned, have you seen the classic Jack Nicholson film 5 Easy Pieces? Oh, it's really good. You kind of remind me of Jack in that, because he's an intellectual, but he is literally, he's working as like in an oil field or something, and then he goes home. He's a prodigy, he's like pianist guy. It's an amazing film. I highly recommend it.
I'm not in any way a prodigy of any sort. Although, Brad, I did want to tell you that I do have a linen suit and a Panama hat.
Ned, was that you? Are you a naughty boy?
When you were digging ditches, were you putting bodies in them?
No, I don't.
Cool. Right.
Anyway,
Ned, pleasure.
you needed from me.
Sorry?
So I was just begging for money in the comments there. No, it's been an absolute pleasure, but I think we need to move on. We've got some beer tubers waiting to talk about their favourite Christmas beers. So thank you so much for taking the time out to chat to us. The comments have been alive with questions. And we should say, to crown this all off, Ned, you do now have your own YouTube channel, correct?
I do. It's called the Cheese Tasting Co. Because my company is called the Cheese Tasting Company. That lack of imagination we spoke about before.
Yeah. Had a real brainstorm over some cheese with that one. So it's still a fledgling channel, but if you go there and ask questions on there, you'll be answering. You're getting updates, and you can.
I will.
Let know.
Yeah.
We've got a great video with Ned as well. So if you want to watch that and then go and watch his channel, and I'm sure we'd love to do some more collab videos with you, Ned, because you are the man, as far as I'm concerned.
I think we need to go to one of people washing cheese with beer. And
Yeah,
that'd be
we
great.
should do that.
yeah. So yeah, Ned, thank you so much. As always, you're
Thank you for having me.
honor.
Lovely, man.
Lovely to see you both. Cheerio. Mm.
So there we go. A couple of minutes, and we'll get the beer tubers on. That was amazing. Ned is more poetic about cheese than you and me combined are about beer, and it makes me feel very silly when he starts waxing lyrical, and I'm like, this is how Blanc in this. An eloquent man.
He's a very soulful man. I love Ned described to me, different cheeses are his friends in his sort of relationship that he has with individual cheeses. And they talk to him. And I think that's an amazing way to look at anything that you love in life, be it beer or cheese. I think it's a great sort of approach.
It's tricky in beer, isn't it? Because there's so many thousands of beers released every day. Nobody wants, needs, or could possibly have that many friends. But there are certain, beers that are very dear and very good friends to me. Like my closest friend is probably Pressure Drop Pale Fire. We're always hanging out. Day a Steady Rolling Man.
It's a good one.
Don Zoco Northern Hellers. I drink a lot of that.
Yeah, man.
I think I see beer more as places. Like, it's not so much people, it's more places because they're so tied to where they're from and who made them and all this kind of stuff. Each part of the world now has a location attached to it. So I think of Hackney when I think of Pressure Drop Pale Fire. I think of Camden Town, like where I currently live and soon won't. But Camden Hells is just the beer of Camden, even though it's now owned by the people that are about to sue us. So yeah, I think beer are places and cheeses are people. And I'm probably going mad. Right, so we're now about to be joined by three absolute bona fide legends of the beer tube community. We have asked them to bring a festive beer that means something to them, and we're going to have a chat about that. While we're chatting all about the beers that they're drinking, we will be consuming this very special beer. If you dislike sour beers, I would skip. and get started on the St. Bernardus, which will also take you a while to get through. So this is it's actually pronounced Bone. I didn't learn that till I met Frank Boone and called him Frank Boone, and he gave me that classic Belgian wrinkle. I'm assuming Brad's gone to the loo.
No, it's just my girlfriend came in and stole the cheese, and then left the door open. She's opened it again. Filming. I'm trying to get the cat out of the room because she was being an absolute terrorist earlier and was like getting all over the place. So
which cat?
Jeff. Which cat? Yeah, Jeff, obviously.
Jeff, terrorist. Yeah.
Shit.
I don't want to down this, but
the Don.
It's tasting so good, Donald. I mean, Reese. I did a little bit of a study and drank loads of Oktoberfest beers this year. I prefer that to all of the classics, Reese. I can't praise it higher. Reese
is in the blurb. It's a special beer, isn't it? It's a limited release beer, right?
Yeah. So it's in the mystery case on the Don Zoco web store. If you want to get hold of it, it is absolutely stunning. And I assume there's still some left on beer merchants as well. If you can't go direct to Reese, but you should. You should if you can. Right, let's get this Boone out. And then we will get our first beer tuber on. We'll have all three on in the end, but we're just going to say hey to each of them individually first.
So, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong. You just said it's called Bone. What did you call it? Not Boone.
Bone. Yeah, Bone.
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 Sound like, mate. So I don't think, even though it was his surname, I don't think he was. Okay.
Did that hit the roof?
That nearly took out one of my pop art pictures on the wall.
God forbid. Look at that colour. It's hard to against my very red jumper. But
wow. I don't know if you can see this. Can anyone see the smoke coming out of this bad boy? Can you see that?
Look at the opening. Simon. You're Simon. for the smoke on the opening. Oh, Bradley, yes, you've got the focus right. Look at that CBC. Look at that glassware you can buy from beermerchants.com. Actually, I think we're sold out, but that would have been a nice moment. So this is not the classic Creek Bone. This is the 2019 limited edition, all made with the traditional Schaasbikse cherry. So super sour cherries, I think from Belgium. I think that's where they're grown. Or they're grown in a region nearby and they've always used them. But there's generally not enough for all of the lambic producers to put these cherries in. So they use like a blend of cherries in most. So if you ever see that word or the French version of it, which I think is spelled slightly differently, that means it's the classic, the traditional lambic cherry that's been used. And I'm hoping for loads of marzipan notes and cherry and Brett and green apple.
Yeah, definitely the apple. I know all the rest as well, obviously, but
I mean, this smells of a place. This just reminds me of being on a train where you're not quite sure if it's going to stop in the right place. I think Halle is where you get off for most of the lambic breweries. Ugh.
Have you actually cycled around the lambic breweries yet? Have you done that?
I've cycled to a couple of them, not around them. I did a tour of Belgium on my bike and visited one or two, but also some Trappist breweries and stuff as well. But they are eminently cyclable. Probably the longest distance you do is about 10K. So, an hour if you've had a couple of beers. It's well worth a trip once we can. Right, shall we get the beer tubers on? Simon is going to be joining us first from beautiful Wales, where he can't currently go to the pub. So I'm sure we'll be delighted to see people. Simon, welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. How are you all doing? Yeah, no, can't go to the pub here in Wales. We got a maniac in charge, and we were kind of like I was in ordering Scotch eggs yesterday, mind you, and pork pies, and I had a big bag full of them by the time I come home.
You just treating them away and then going like, yeah, ate it. So
yeah, I just leaving them on the in front of me and just drinking the beers, and right next bar, I've eaten enough of these pies, put it in my bag.
It's not the perfect crime to then announce it on YouTube, Simon.
And then the dog enjoyed them after.
Ah, there we go.
I bet he's been releasing some gases today. Bloody hell.
He will. Yeah, he will. Yeah.
So you were up at Brew York today or yesterday?
I got back at 6 o'clock tonight. Got back at 6 o'clock.
Blimey, you're packing it in.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really packing it. But I really, really wanted to get this in. I Christmas special. Meet all you guys on a YouTube Christmas special. It's a really fitting way to end the year, I think.
And how's the year been on Real Ale Guide?
How did it go? Sorry, up in York.
Yeah, did you have a good year?
It was really good. What lovely people! What lovely people up in York Brewery, Brew York even. What a lovely, lovely lot of people. Brilliant.
Alrighty. And sorry, ignore the comments. I'll just flash up because lots of people are talking about the beer that we're drinking. But tell us about the beer that you've chosen.
I've chosen a Saltaire White Christmas. And I went for that because Saltaire were one of the first breweries that really, for me, I started identifying hops before it was kind of just hops in a beer. But I really started to notice that I liked the Saltaire Cascade, and it was a Cascade beer they made with a Cascade hop, and that was around Christmas time. So I thought, why not get this Saltaire White Christmas? And that was about 10 years ago now. So it's like a 10th anniversary beer for me, really, where I like the brewery, I like their beers, and I thought I'd pick one up.
Alrighty, well let's get Rob on, and then we can hopefully all crack the beer together and have a chin wag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chin wag anymore? I don't know where that came. Brad's gone. Brad's passed out. Let's get Rob on.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Very good.
Good, strong glassware. What's in the glass, Rob?
Well, so I'm just finishing off the Don Zerka. Just in contrast to you supping it out the can like you're an extra from Men Behaving Badly, I've got
extra. I'd be the lead.
I've got a Budweiser kind of vintage Stein with a Christmas 16, no less. And this was another link to it. This was I won this on a competition that was run by the legendary. Do you remember Chad's beer reviews?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won Chad's Christmas competition one year, and this came in. This is always up in that corner. But yeah, I thought it'd be a fitting bit of stoneware for.
There we go. And how's everything with you? How's Hopstein done this year? Have you had some amazing beers?
Yes, well, obviously, I try my best. I mean, it's been some real discoveries this year as well. I mean, one for me, Overtone.
Mm-hmm.
I've bought so much Overtone in the last 6 weeks. It's offensive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Spoiler alert: we put them into our ones to watch in 2021, which we filmed a couple of days ago. We think they're good as well.
Finger on the pulse.
I can't hear Rob for some reasons. Rob's crackling. I can't hear it. It's really
You
bad.
hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
I think it's a technical thing with StreamYard. I don't think it's your audio because I can see that you can hear Rob, but I can't.
We're struggling.
Yeah, but it's okay. I just wanted to let people know at the beginning because when I came on initially, when you were interviewing the cheese guy, it was all crackly then too. So maybe it'll sort itself out in time.
Hope so. Well, if you don't respond,
He's even nicking my bit now. He can't help himself, can he?
Oh, let me
He's nicking my bit.
what's your beer of choice for tonight, Rob? What's your Christmas beer?
I've got as it happens, Simon's got a Saltaire White Christmas, which I'm actually currently sat about 100 yards from Saltaire Brewery. But I have actually got the other brewery based in. Well, this is actually in Saltaire. Saltaire Brewery is oddly in Shipley. Well, let's not get into that. But it's called Stingo Bells, which is a Panettone Stinger, 7.4% ABV from Salt Beer Factory, which is about a 25-minute walk from where I am.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so Stingo supposedly like a Yorkshire term for a strong ale. I mean, I guess Sam Smith's do quite a well-known, but it's been a collaboration with Beer Paradise. It's actually a collab with the owner of Beer Paradise, Zach Avery, who was, I claim, the godfather of UK beer tube. So I felt it a fitting situation. Dropping another kind of beer tube icon name, but I thought it was a real kind of fitting one. And because of that, I've got a bit of Halford cheddar. Oh yeah.
Got you now, Rob. I got your sound sorted.
Which is based on Lincolnshire Poacher, which Ned were having earlier, and it's beautiful. And I thought that'd go really nicely. So that kind of I don't even know what colour this is yet, but I'm sure that kind of stronger British kind of strong ale would go lovely with a nice kind of cheddar.
Well, we'll have a wonderful surprise when you crack it. Speaking of surprises, I can see what is about to appear on screen when I bring Ollie on. But Ollie, please, welcome.
I look at Tom Poole. What is this? It look festive. Look like a lamppost.
That's not a filter, is it? That's your actual.
That's my head.
Mate, I love it.
You should have in portrait mode, and then we could have fitted you all in.
I don't think it'll fit me in anything. It's like a gherkin. What is this?
Even if I do this, I don't think I can compete.
Oh wow, yeah.
I can't compete, really. That's great.
Look, Elton John. Hello.
Hi, Ollie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Yeah, loving the show. It's great. I've got my own Ned's board down here, but it's just like a feast of diabetes and Kit Kats.
Oh, you've got a chocolate orange.
I do have a chocolate orange, yeah. A little bit of a clue.
There'll be oranges soon on the Craft Beer channel. Tell us about your year on Pint Size. How's it all gone?
It's been okay. Yeah, we were meant to personal life wise, we were meant to get married and do all that, but that obviously got chucked in the bin. So yeah, it's tricky. Had a lot planned for Pint Size, but it just didn't come up. So, but like Rob, I discovered a lot of great breweries, a lot of local ones starting up. A new one in Worthing. The new head brewer from Arundel's moved on to start up a new brewery. So yeah, really loving where we live and trying the beers around where we are, which is a great little thing. I think a lot of people have discovered that. Instead of traveling miles and miles to go to a tap room, they've looked on their doorstep. Yeah,
absolutely, and it's become much easier to do that.
Yeah.
I think in cities we always forget that we're incredibly blessed with breweries, and it was a city revolution, and now it's increasingly becoming a rural one, which is great news. Tell us about your Christmas beer that you've chosen.
It's a bit of a trash bag, but
Good diabetes.
it's White Hag's chocolate orange pastry stout. Obviously, I've got the chocolate orange to go, along with the Arkenstone from the middle. I don't get the thing. My fiance is obsessed with chocolate oranges, and then we share them quite a bit, but this is the piece that I cannot touch. It's clearly the worst part of the chocolate orange.
You are so wrong.
I love that bit.
It's the worst bit.
I like that bit.
For the orange sensation, if you will. But
Rob the Nose Derbyshire. Tell me, what is it that's better about the centre of a chocolate orange?
It's not even the same.
I think it's texture. I mean, and I would say that an actual chocolate orange is much better than the bar because you've got that. It gets really thin towards the edge of the segment, which is really enjoyable. But I don't know. It's all knobbly. It's ununiform as well. You never know what it's going to be.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Not a conversation I thought we'd have, but that is why the middle of the chocolate orange isn't as shit as you think.
Johnny, we had a conversation at length about me thinking it was the best chocolate to murder somebody with.
Did we? Was that the Christmas video coming up?
Well, imagine that. I thought we were talking about Toblerone versus
God,
chocolate orange.
the better weapon for murder, chocolate orange.
Maybe, have I imagined that?
I remember that. That is a thing that happened. After next week's video.
As long as it's been in the fridge as well.
Sorry.
Just like in the hand, like a kind of bludgeon, or as a projectile.
Cave the sort of the temple in of a man's skull.
I feel like a double decker is going to do way more damage to the temple.
A Toblerone, did you say?
No, you got from
double decker. Layers of pain.
Talking about chocolate oranges, mind you, I learned something over the weekend, and that's that they were made in York. Is that right, Rob?
They're made by
York.
What invented
Roundtrees was in York.
But I seen a Terry shop while I was up there.
No. Roundtrees is in York. So that's what it's known for. I don't know about that.
So where are the mystical oranges made? Does anyone know?
I don't know. That's the beauty of it. It's a mystery. The romanticism of the chocolate orange.
Do you know what the mystery I like best about a chocolate orange is? How it becomes £1 a couple of weeks before Christmas. And normally it's about £2 or £3.
I bought one the other day. I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah.
I had a yearning to just have a chocolate orange. And I saved the bit in the middle for the end.
Oh, you wait that long.
No one does that with a real orange.
No, obviously.
Nice pippy.
Irrelevant.
Do you break it off, or do you eat it with the last piece?
Oh, it's broken already. You got to smash it out of that orange.
Yeah.
This is quite an intact piece as it goes, I think. I eat mine like an apple. Just chew right on down.
Can I see your teeth? Let's have a close of your teeth. Are they made
these on my teeth?
Teeth here.
Whose teeth are they?
Ollie has teeth that could eat actually eat a chocolate orange.
They're great. Well done. You brush your teeth very well, sir. I love it.
Beautiful, man.
Also, Ollie's very young.
Okay.
We need to remember that too.
Wow.
I'm missing one of my teeth. That's the life I've lived. I've got a gap here, which I'm not going to show everybody.
This is a Snapchat filter. This is just there's nothing there. It's all gone.
Right. Right. So we've talked a lot about cheese, chocolate oranges, and now Ollie's teeth. Should we chat about beer?
This is how beer tuber live streams go.
It is.
It's like prattling on about nonsense and taking your top off and doing press ups. I think that's what usually happens.
That was the Duvel night, was it, Simon?
It happens.
Oh no!
It happens most
Every
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
Oh,
Tuesday. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched that far in because your live streams are about 5 hours, aren't they?
Yeah, 5 hours. I've done sit-ups with a baguette in my mouth. It's all very strange. Whatever.
The shoey. That was a memorable moment.
The shoey. Yeah, I did a shoey. Daniel Ricciardo shoey. Put some beer in the shoe and drank it out of the shoe.
Whose shoe?
My shoe.
Oh, come on. That's not very
Someone
fair.
else's. He's not an animal.
Right, Simon. I'd love to get a review of the beer that you're going to be drinking. Do you want to get it in a glass and see what you get?
Yeah, I have. I've already poured it. It's a nice. I quite like Saltair Brewery. I've always been very interested in what they do. As I said earlier, one of the first beers that really kind of hit my radar was the Cascade. I'm not sure if the Cascade is still made as a beer, but it was one of my favourites from Saltair. So let's give this White Christmas a go. Little bit of haze going on, slow moving carbonation, aroma. It's got a mixture between a traditional, I'd say, light British pale ale with an American hop twist, maybe. A little undercarbonated. I'm going to say a little undercarbonated. There's not much carbonation there, but lots of malty, hoppy flavours coming through. Very nice beer. Very nice. It's probably my 40th pint of the last 24 hours.
You're looking good.
I'm trying to put my finger in my ear, stop it coming out my ear.
Right, we'll go to Bob in a second for his beer, but it seems that the chocolate orange is indeed originally from York.
There's a York. There's a Terry's shop where it's engraved into the windowsill. It says Terry's, and I was like, oh, brilliant! This is where they must have come from.
I work there. It shows how much notice I pay. not the Harry's chocolate shop, but York.
There you go. Well, apparently, it's now moved to Eastern Europe somewhere.
That's a shame.
Right, just a quick. We've just got a super chat from Joshua Mella promoting his local Haringey local store. If you haven't been, great bottles and cans. And the manager only stock stuff they've tried at source and really like. So they travel lots. They also have great cheese. Well, there you go. Beer and cheese in the shop. What more do you need?
I think we may have missed a super chat from John at Lord's Brewing as well, Johnny.
No, I showed it. Don't you worry, buddy.
Okay, thanks.
Getting increasingly less on top of this shit as the beer kicks in, but I'm on it. Sorry, got one from Ken Beer Reviews. Thank you so much. Great beer in the picture there. One of my favourite Imperial Stouts there from The Alchemist. Luscious. Thanks, Johnny Brad, for all the great content. Wish you a safe and Merry Christmas. And to you, Craig. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Right. Let's. Oh, crikey! Nearly left StreamYard for a second. That would have been a disaster. Rob, tell me about the beer that you're drinking.
Well, I said it's supposedly Panettone Stingo. So Stingo is kind of somewhere close to a barley wine. That wasn't me, by the way. The me.
Right.
And I definitely get that. I mean, you get that because Panettone is that kind of slightly dried out, kind of like sponge cake kind of situation, somewhere between cake and bread. Yeah, it's got that, and it's got a bit of a marmalade thing going on. Like I said, I've got it. It's already poured. It's kind of pretty still, to be honest. Drinking ridiculously easily as well for its ABV, which I'm sure I'll appreciate in about an hour when I'm fast asleep.
Have you enjoyed having Colin Strong brewing beers close to you and having complete freedom?
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it's complete freedom. I mean, I think that's an interesting situation with salts because that's so available in supermarkets for a brewery the size that is, because it's not a big brewery at all. And they're in multiple supermarkets, and it's an interesting one because you'll get stuff like this, and I picked up a barley wine yesterday as well, which was a collab with Abbeydale. But then they're making a lot of because of where they are is in a really kind of residential area, so you've got to appeal to a really broad demographics. There's a lot of session strength stuff, which is all very well made, but and I guess a call for kind of like Yellow Belly, really, don't you? In Rain Shadow, all the great stuff that he did at Buxton primarily. I think that's where he made his name. I mean, I met Colin on the very first Twist Up when that was a thing, when people used to meet up in person based on Twitter, which was in Sheffield. And that's when in 2000, and I think that might have been pre-YouTube. I mean, it might have been 2008, 2009.
Wow.
That's when I first met Col, which I think I've still got bottles of beers that I made at Marble, which I'm sure will be large bottles of vinegar by now. It's the framboise and the creek. You know when you get those big bottles and it's like, well, when do I open this?
Yeah,
And then you do it, and 11 years later you've still got it, and it just stays there and gathers dust. But yeah, so as far as this goes, flavour wise, I can't get away from this idea of, do you know the orange, which is like pierced with cloves and stuff.
Oh, the single.
Kind of I can't help but get away from that.
You're not meant to eat those, Rob.
I know. I learned that to my detriment, sadly. But it's got that. I know. But I hate cloves, but it doesn't have the kind of clove. It's definitely got the kind of spiced orange there. But a bit of almond and vanilla. Rum and raisin, oddly. I mean, considering it's such a pale beer, you do get a nice rounded out. But yeah, you think Fuller's vintage ale, but a bit younger and not quite as strong.
There you go. Sounds tasty.
Very nice with my cheese.
Nice.
There you go. Ollie, Christmas tree. Show us your beer.
Yeah, it's good. As I said, it's the White Hag chocolate orange pastry stout, giving you all manner of lens flare. It's okay. I mean, it's giving me kind of melted dairy milk chocolate button in the mouth. I just ate a big old amount of chocolate orange, so I've got that. You know, they use real orange oil in those bad boys, so that's coated my mouth nicely. But yeah, it's a little bit, I don't know, it could be a bit more velvety smooth, as if I've eaten a chocolate orange that's melted in my mouth. But yeah, a little bit sharp, a little bit sweet. It's good. 5.5%. It's a good bit of fun. Whip it out on Christmas Day, so everyone's going to try it out.
It's from a recipe point of view. It's an interesting choice because obviously a chocolate orange, we think of it as super creamy, rich, silly Christmas snack. Whereas if you're going to make it 5.5%, you're never going to get anywhere near the texture of that, are you?
Yeah. So I think they've fallen back on let's try and make it seem a bit more like real orange. You know, orange juicy, a little bit thinner, a bit sharp. But yeah, it might fall down on that. But as I said, it's a bit of fun on Christmas Day, and it pairs well with this nice white Stilton with little chunks of apricot in, just kind of nice bit of salty, actual fruit pieces.
Lovely.
It's a beautiful pairing.
I've got to ask, talking of a bit of fun on Christmas Day. Is this hat situation? Is this something you bought for your YouTube channel for this moment, or is it something that has appeared before or will appear this Christmas?
This is my real head. I'm sorry, I've just eaten so much cheese.
Always been wearing like a bold.
Yeah,
that's what's underneath.
This is just a silly thing. This isn't even mine.
I mean, I can't even top you by doing that. It's such a strong look. You know,
See,
talking back. We need to screen grab of this right now. Screen grab.
I've got my whippet as well, if you want to see it.
Oh wow!
Hey, everyone's at it.
Wait, I can do this. I can do a screenshot. Are you ready?
Here's everybody.
2, 1. There we go.
Hey.
This was in response to Brad's kind of Brett Michaels kind of a band, but then Ollie appeared with that, and I thought, I don't know if I can even. I don't think it's worth it, really.
Okay, just embarrass yourself, Rob. Unlike Ollie.
He's got no shame, though. That's the thing.
No.
I think we should just do the rest of this stream just showing Ollie, and we'll just chat. And
I've got so many snacks. I can just work my way through this bad boy.
Ollie, has it got lights on it, or is that just very luminous because you've got?
It's just I've got a really oily face, so
it's because of all the chocolate orange you eat.
It's great. Love it.
just seeping out my pores.
Simon, what's on your hat, mate? It's brilliant, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Come back with it. I just thought it was on the table. I haven't unpacked my suitcase yet, so I just grabbed it off the table and put it on. As we're all wearing hats, I don't have anything funky. Put this.
I want a Welsh hat. I want the one that looks a bit like a flower pot.
Oh, right, yeah. Or daffodils and stuff coming out. Yeah.
Traditional black, kind of like women's Welsh hat. Go and get it. I know it is. Go and get it.
You look like you could climb a big ladder in that hat, Rob.
Well, it's been known.
That's a safety hat, isn't it? You're going up a big ladder. You've got your flat cap on, you'll be fine. It's flat already, so.
Taking my hats off now.
I love how little we've talked about beer.
Yeah.
The beer tubers right now.
Were you brewing when you were at Brew York?
Yes, we did a little bit of brewing, and then we went to their new site as well, which was really cool. We're thinking of calling the beer something Catherine Zeta-Jones. I can't remember the name now. Catherine Zesty Jones or something. Because they come up with really cool names for their beers, don't they? The other one was the Prince of Pales, but I think we're going to move away from that one. But it's going to be some kind of pale ale that we do. We've done.
Just looking forward to it. I've got a question that is perfectly timed for you guys in Super Chat from Ben Dawson. The question is, what actually makes a beer Christmassy for you guys? I feel sometimes breweries just come up with a pun and then package any beer to fit it. It's a fair question. I'm going to leave you guys to debate it while I have a quick wee. Brad, you're in charge.
It's all about the pun.
Okay.
I was about to say I have a quick wee, but I'm quite happy to be in charge. It's the essence of Christmas if you put it into liquid form.
Cinnamon.
I think.
Yeah.
See, that's all the stuff I hate. Cloves.
Yeah, that's why you have it once a year.
Yeah.
Get out. But I think it's something kind of like big and restorative. I think the St. Bernardus Christmas is a really good example of what I think of a lovely Christmas beer. You want something enjoyed by a log fire, even though none of us have got one. Actually, Simon, he was bashing the shit out of his house last month. That's the best I.
Come on,
they've cleaned it out here.
I agree. I think it should be something like dark and big and really like port-esque.
Yeah.
Something that you can really, fall asleep drinking.
Yeah. I some of them, which this for me, this White Christmas, it's a hoppy pale ale. It could be anything really. I think it's just.
It's nice and light. It's got I can't remember. I think they've got. Isn't there a bit of orange peel in it and a few other bits and bats?
Festive citrus and spice pale.
I did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Festive citrus.
Nice.
Oddly, as I said, I live pretty much next to start at brewery, but because of the current situation, I can't go to the brewery shop and buy one.
Oh,
but Simon's got one in Wales.
So, Rob, what are your 25 minutes walk from Salt or from those guys?
I'm literally 100 yards from Saltaire Brewery. Literally,
Wow.
I mean, it's a flat next to me and then Saltaire Brewery.
Wow.
But then Salt is a 25-minute walk from here.
And is that
as little Yorkshire folk, we like to keep it local, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you get waken up by the smell of words in the mornings at all?
No, because I close my windows.
Do you ever stand by your window with a surfboard and say, I love the smell of wort in the morning?
I love the smell of mashing grain.
Like Apocalypse Now style. That's a t-shirt right there.
I love I mean, sometimes I'll go out for my my daily pollutions, and I'll smell the mash or smell if you get the right time of the day, you smell the boil, so you get a bit of hops in it as well, which is great because growing up in this area, and if you go wait into Leeds, the smell of Tetleys would like fill the city, which was always lovely. Opposed to when I was at college in Barnsley, you could just smell the abattoir.
Oh, dear.
Oh, wow.
Johnny, you grew up in a town where you could smell beer, didn't you?
I grew up where Moorlands was before it was bought out and then basically shut down by Green King. They were Speckled Hen, which is now Green King. House, which I mentioned at the start, that was a Green King pub. Well, it was a Moorlands pub, then became a Green King's pub. It was also where the guy who founded MG lived. So it's got this incredible history. Brewery for Moorlands. It was where the guy from MG used to live, and then it was run by a bunch of cunts. Mostly what happens to pubs.
Johnny, you've just demonetized the stream, you bastard.
For the first 10 seconds.
This is interesting though, right? Because a couple of you guys you're living by or you've grown up in towns immersed in beer.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
dad was a hop picker. He was a poor Cockney. His holiday was going hop picking in Kent. I wonder, what are everyone else's sort of connections to beer from a young age?
I remember going to Cardiff, which is about 7 miles away. I met Johnny in Cardiff at Brains Brewery. At the original site on St Mary's Street, there was old arcades, little shopping arcades. And I remember that smell of wort. That's why I asked Rob about the smell of wort in the morning. But I remember if you went early enough in the morning shopping, your parents took me shopping. I was only knee-high to a grasshopper, 7 or 8 years of age. But I always used to say, God, blimey, what's that smell down the arcades? The smell used to waft all the way down the arcades, and for a kid, it was awful. It was an awful smell. The word, but I love it now, of course. But that's my first memory of a brewery was the Brains Brewery filling the shopping arcades with the smell of wort.
Amazing.
Pongy.
Yeah.
Pongy.
Yeah. Hardcore pongy. I don't think we. Maybe at a later age went to Bury St Edmunds a lot. Obviously, Green King are there, and it stinks to high heaven. But yeah, not really. We the first pub I went to was in our little village near Guildford. There was like a timber yard nearby, and it was this horrendously frightening place. Went there with my dad for my first pint, I think. And it's one of these things, like someone was saying earlier. I think it was you, Brad, that. Like metalheads are like the nicest people in the world. I think lumberjacks are just as great. And it was like the most friendly pub you could possibly imagine. But looking on the outside and all the Hiluxes in the car park, you'd be like, I'm not going in there.
Ollie, I want to go to a lumberjack pub, mate. Where can I find this?
Dream, yeah. East Horsley. No, it's now a gastropub.
Oh,
Livid. Yeah.
Jesus. Everything has to be spoiled, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Gentrification. Jesus.
I mean, also the beer type, but there's lots of moves happening that might start to break that. I'm writing a new story for Good Beer Hunting that should come out next week about how there's been some big moves there, both in England, Wales, and in Scotland. And the earlier that can happen, the more that these beautiful pubs like the Boundary House that are run by horrible companies, not the landlords are often great, can improve. So we'll see. Right, we're going to crack our next beer, Bradley. People are getting impatient for it.
Oh dear!
It's the second biggest beer of the night.
Oh Christ! Oh Christ!
I did bring when I popped to the Loo. I also picked up a bottle of my homebrew. I thought we could crack it, and then somebody in the comments said what I was going to say with it, which is the best Christmas beers are the ones that go with mince pies.
Is that the double?
Or our mince pies?
It's the mince pie double.
I can just tell from the bottle. I'd say there's too much dark malt, and it's a bit bitter.
It's bitter from the look.
Just from the look of the bottle,
It just sees bitterness.
it looks bitter, and I'd say there's a bit too much dark malt. Extracted a bit too much colour.
Definitely did. But the recipe you can get on Malt Miller now, it's for sale. We get no money. It's all about supporting Malt Miller because they gave us lots of advice and free equipment. That is a perfected recipe. And approved by Malt Miller, and it will taste much better than ours did. Although ours should age quite well, we're hoping. Lots of stuff that can happen in bottle.
I'm wearing the elusive T-shirt.
You are. I clocked that when you came in. Oh shit!
Oh,
Sorry.
so elusive.
He's back.
No, he bumped me.
Screen
Just
roll.
for that. I spoke to Andy soon after.
Yeah.
That was released, and you put too much in. Didn't you put too much of your spices in and stuff?
Well, I was of the opinion that we'd slightly overdone the spices. Brad was of the opinion that we could have upped the spices by a long way. So
That's just Brad kind of like approach to life, isn't it?
Brad is more, very much so. So yeah, I still think we slightly overdid the spices in that one, but it's actually mellowed quite nicely. I had a bottle a couple of days ago, and it's a little bit less cinnamon than it was when we tasted it.
Oddly, that's what Andy. I spoke to Andy, when I was talking to Andy. He loves cinnamon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I actually had it on cask. His version. I had it on cask in Newcastle, and it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, I guess that's one thing that everybody's missing, especially right now, is cask ale.
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, go to Saltaire Brewery and get a pint of their best. I am up in the Yorkshire situation. I can talk like Ian McMillan if you want for a while. I said, there he is. He's even watching, isn't he? Go and have a pint of their best over there. It's a nice malty best, beautiful pint of ale, nice tight sparkler. Tell you, beautiful.
There's Andy saying he enjoyed our homebrew pumpkin beer. Thanks, Andy. I thought yours was significantly better, and I wish I could have had it on cast. We didn't quite manage that, but ours was a good beer, and it was a much sillier beer, much bigger. And
you've got your own cassette up in your living room, Johnny. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
You've got your beer machine on your coffee table. I thought that was the permanent fixture.
It will be when I move house, which is in a couple of months. It will be a permanent fixture. At the moment, having it just on my living room table. Well, I mean, I tried to do it, and it raised some eyebrows in the house. One eyebrow. I live with one other person who raised one eyebrow. So that went sadly, but at the new place, it will be up. Great to see you, Andy, watching the live show. Right, guys, we're going to crack the St. Bernardus, and then we're going to cheers you, and I think we'll have to say a very fond farewell.
Can I ask a quick question for all of you guys out there? How has this current situation, as we all like to call it, how has it affected your kind of travel plans with your channels over the last 12 months? Did you have things planned out to go, and then all of a sudden you had to cancel? And
yeah, I mean, because Beak Brewery just opened up in Lewis over summer, and we really wanted to do something over there, and we managed to get over there just for a session and some food. But I don't know, traveling for the purposes of pleasure like that, it feels a bit wrong to go and do a full-blown episode somewhere further than that. So I don't know, we had a lot's planned, but it's nice that over autumn and winter breweries have popped up, as I said earlier, so close to where we live now. So there's no reason that over January to April we can go off and have some fun with them 10, 15-minute drive away. So exciting times.
Yeah, I mean, we had lots of plans to travel. We were going to Pennsylvania, New York, Belgium, Germany, Czech Republic.
Oh,
we had.
There's me with Lewis. Yeah, half an hour on the A27.
And yeah, they all got cancelled immediately. One of them was for our second documentary.
yeah.
So that one we've replanned. I just don't know whether the others will happen now. But I mean, like Ollie said as well, there's also that kind of ethical, like, should we travel even if we can?
Yeah.
I think it's starting to get better now. Now there's a vaccine and immunity is getting better. You start to think maybe we can, but it's still, it's amazing how quickly humans adapt. And we're all like, well, we don't travel anymore. I felt bad, driving out of London today to visit a house I'm trying to buy, let alone, when you get to the airport, for me and Brad, if they were like, and what's the purpose of your trip? Is it business? Because it has to be business. And we're like, yeah,
it would be business for you.
It is technically business, Johnny. We don't have to feel too bad. But it doesn't feel like business, which is the main thing, right? It's always a pleasure to be traveling around and doing these things we're lucky enough to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, just hoping that next year we might be able to do some of the stuff that we missed out on this year.
Yeah, I was going to go to New York and Boston and Munich and Bamberg. So that didn't happen. I've been on Newcastle a couple of times, which was very nice. And when it all kind of like, oh, well, international travel's not going to be a thing for a while. They were like, all right, well, I'll go to London. I'll go to Bristol. And because I just got over that situation of like filming in public where you just feel massively insecure. I just got over that and I started doing a few on location bits and bats. Got myself a cheap lav mic off of some dubious website. And I just got over that kind of like that public kind of like situation where you go, oh, I'm just drinking. I've got a tripod in front of me and a phone and all this business. And then I filmed one just before lockdown at Kirkstall Brewery, which I haven't posted. It just didn't feel kind of the thing to do whilst we couldn't go. So it was a couple of weeks before that, and so I hope to do places in the UK and go and see some mates in Liverpool, and can't even do that at the moment. So as soon as things are better, that's the first thing I'm going to do is get down to London, go to Kernel, go to Pressure Drop, go to Liverpool, and go to meet a couple of fellow beer tubers over there and stuff. And yeah, I can't wait. But
I got cabin fever. I just got cabin fever in the end.
You don't leave the kitchen, that's why.
I just
He's in there eating noodles.
Yeah.
And,
just like cabin fever. I was like, this is it. I'm going to York.
Robert, if you come down to London, mate, hit me up. I'm up for a meet up, and I promise not to be as drunken and twattish as I was last time.
Oh, you were beautiful.
You were beautiful with you, Rob. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to train with me.
You didn't have to deal with me on the train home.
You mentioned it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah. I saw the start of that journey, but I didn't see the rest of it.
Giving out beer as apologies.
It was a wonderful, unexpected afternoon outside North Brewing.
They're always the best ones, aren't they? Like when you don't expect it. Like if we were to like somehow all meet up in real life, just not planned, that'd be great. I think. I wonder what we drink.
Wonder what we wear.
Yeah, that's a more important question.
Yeah, we don't have
Wonder
to try
what
and
you'd wear,
have
Ollie.
wouldn't we, if we all bumped into each other?
You just said about 60 yards away from
Ollie
me.
and Simon side by side, because Simon's like 5'5" and Ollie's like 6'10". He's gonna look like his son. He's old and Welsh.
Right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I'm glad we've all had great years despite everything, and here's to keeping on championing BeerTube as a great destination for learning and for having fun. And hopefully we can all meet up, maybe a Bermondsey beer mile trip or something once it's safe.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me.
Merry Christmas.
Much love, everybody. Stay safe out there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
And Simon, goodbye. There we go. What a joy that was.
Brilliant. I'm going to go for a bit.
To those guys for tuning in and taking part in the comments as well, and for everything that they've done. Like, I still watch pretty much every video that those guys are putting out. They're just wonderful personalities, and in particular Simon and Rob. When I started watching BeerTube a decade ago now to learn more about beer, like, they were the guys that I was watching, along with Zach Avery, who we mentioned, who sadly doesn't do any YouTube stuff anymore. They're just, it's bizarre to have started doing content with them, because for 2 years I learned most of what I learned from them and from the books that was in our Beer Geek video a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, big time. Respect.
Yeah.
Across all the YouTube channels, spreading love and beer to everybody wherever we can.
Right, guys, what do we think of this beauty?
Have you cracked it yet, Johnny? Did I miss cracking it?
I'm well in. I'm always halfway through the bottle.
Oh, mate. I've missed cracking.
Evans, come on, keep up. We're on to our fifth of 6 beers. I'd love to know if you guys are drinking the same amount as us. I'm not going to lie, I did not finish the eggnog, but otherwise I've been seeing them away, which, well, that's tomorrow, Johnny problems. I don't need to worry too much about that.
That's pretty high voltage you've necked them.
I mean,
I'm not too far behind, to be honest. I've necked most of them.
Beer, no, not Rambo. Who are you? I forget now.
I'm John Rambo.
You are John Rambo. There you go.
Yeah, not John McLean. John McLean? No. Hang on.
Okay. Is it John Rambo? I don't think it's John Rambo.
Yeah, it's John Rambo. Yeah, John Rambo.
I'm called John.
Which, because I love Die Hard, I have I don't know, we're not full screen, but that's Hans Gruber. Oh, it's upside down. Hang on.
There you go.
That's Hans Gruber. This is Gruber versus McLean scarf that I have. which is, you know, a sort of Christmas essential. Like, I'm not really one for wearing Christmas jumpers, but certainly Christmas scarves. And what is more Christmassy than Die Hard, as I often say?
Many things, but it is a Christmas film. If you've watched lots of Craft Beer Channel, you might probably know that basically the way that the videos go is Johnny comes up with a concept and then Brad tries to derail it. That's what most of the videos.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a long time, I had an idea that Brad ended up shooting down, and the idea was your man, John McClane.
It's not really see him. Just sort of see an eye in the background, sort of like an eyebrow doing that.
What we should have done is got the shot of him, and we could have made the screen of us big enough that we'd have been the people in the vent.
I love that. What I wanted to do, which we were trying to sort of brainstorm it yesterday, was having another window commenter that was John McClane in the tunnel. We could have like thrown to John McClane. What do you reckon about that, John? You know, what does Hans Gruber think about that? How's it hanging in Nakatomi Building? All that kind of shit.
Always pretty badly for him, to be honest.
Pretty much.
Right, where are we? There we go. We've just had another super chat. Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for being a Patreon. Echo sentiment has been sent a lot tonight. Thanks for making a miserable 2020 so much better. Discovering you guys has been a highlight, genuine highlight. Honestly, so I took the Craft Beer Channel. Well, I went full-time Craft Beer Channel and beer writing in mid-2018. And we were hoping 2019 was going to be our year. And, you know, we did the documentary, we did the stuff in St. Pete, and we were hoping that was going to really sort of help us grow. And it didn't quite happen. And 2020 has actually been our year. Like, we are one of those few businesses, few people who can claim that, you know, business wise, we've done well this year. And that's all down to the fact that our Patreons have been so supportive, and we've managed to spend money on homebrew equipment, on trips before lockdown, and also investing in stuff, better equipment and stuff like that. So it's all down to you guys, and we should be thanking you, Ben. You've made our lockdown so much better than it could have been. And it's been an absolute joy running the Craft Beer Channel the last 9 months, whereas before, you know, it was becoming a little bit of a chore. It was, you know, how are we going to make a living out of this? I want to buy a house and have kids and all this stuff. And it's just turned around this year, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah, big time. I mean, Johnny is a powerhouse when it comes to Craft Beer Channel. He's spearheading a lot of the stuff. I just, you know, I'm sort of here for the hijinks and the good times, but Johnny does a lot of head scratching and sort of thinking about stuff a lot of the time. And you know, it's been really great to sort of see this year where we've made a little bit of money, and we've been able to, you know, sort of reinvest in the channel and help sort of support us a little bit. You know, because like we want to keep doing this, but we're like super niche. So, you know, the Patreon thing is a lifeline, really. Like, honestly, if we didn't have a Patreon, the YouTube ad revenue is shite.
Patreon gives us more than double a month in YouTube advertising, because we're such lots of people won't advertise on alcohol content.
Yeah, and so much more as well. Like, because it really enriches what we're doing as well. Like, it's like direct feedback. You know, what we're talking about with you guys in the forum on Discord, and, you know, all the other mediums we might sort of talk. It really does go back into the videos and the content that we're making. So it's everything that you do on a channel makes what we do better. And it just means so much to feel supported. And yeah, I mean, you know, I get depressed a lot, but, you know, the Craft Beer Channel sort of really does help my own sort of personal mental well-being, I would say. And you know, it's so lovely to think that there's people out there that care about what we do, like deeply care about what we do. You know, because like, I think we both love this, and we both want to make it work, and we both want to sort of make this a long-term thing that we can keep evolving and keep growing. And it's only down to Patreon, really, that we're still going. In all honesty, right?
100%. I couldn't have gone freelance and not have a Patreon. It's that simple. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
And Ben and everyone else, you're fucking heroes in my eyes, man. Like honestly, and I'd have a beer with you boys and girls anytime.
Yeah,
anytime.
And it's not the financial stuff as well. It's the getting to know you guys and having you guys in the comments every time. And the Discord forum, I think, is a bit of a game changer for us, both from financially, like it's grown our Patreon hugely. But it means that every time I have a doubt or a question or a content idea, I can come to you guys. And it's been amazing with you people all going like, well, this is cool, this is not, or you've got this right already, don't worry about it. And it means that me and Brad can have another sounding board other than each other, because there's lots of stuff we find hilarious or interesting that you guys might not, or the other way. And, we've done lots of content based off of that Discord form already to do in 2021. I'm just going to flash that up. Johnny's a powerhouse. I like that phrase. I'm going to keep that.
Yes, John.
So we're coming towards the end. So usually we do 2 hours. We're going to do at least 2.5 today, so that we can get and ask me anything. We can have a chat. We always love you guys chatting away in the comments to each other as well. So we don't want to close it down too quickly. So we're just going to fit. We've got another final beer to have, as well as this St. Bernardo's Christmas. So we're going nowhere for now, and you guys don't have to either. So just, say goodbye if you got to go, and otherwise keep drinking with us. So I formally introduce the It's Ask Us Anything time. So please throw some questions in there, anything you want to ask. There were lots of questions, particularly during Ned's segment, that I couldn't quite get to. So if you ask a question and we missed it, please send it again, and we'll try and get to it this time.
Thanks for that comment, Andy Forshaw, before it's gone now, but he's one of my oldest buddies and I love him dearly. Thanks, mate. Super chats, Johnny.
Yeah, super chat from Lords again. You've been so supportive this year as well. Thank you so much. One last thing, keep an eye on your post. You'll be sending us some beers. Thanks, man. Much appreciate that. My wife,
John's an absolute hero as far as I'm concerned. Check out Lord's Brewery. Go and follow him. He's a lovely guy. He really is. He's a genuine human, like a real decent dude. And we've had like video chats together, and I consider him a friend. So thanks, John. Your support means the world, mate. And I hope that the brewery goes from strength to strength.
Andy was up in the chats earlier. We were chatting about our pumpkin spice collaboration video that we did. And Andy is a tiny business making amazing beer. And the fact that he's a sponsor is a source of endless pride to me, because A, a brilliant brewer, B, a brilliant person, and C, a small business that sees value in great independent content. That's everything I could ever want from my business. So Andy, thank you so much for all of your support and all of your help with that video, and for all of the, the friendship and the fun we've had over, 4 or 5 years of knowing each other and bumping into each other at events. You're a wonderful addition to the professional brewing scene, even more so maybe than you were as a home brewer. Elusive is a special brewery.
Gets one of them.
And amazing for Andy. Cohen, thank you so much for your support as well, and for your Patreon support. Hope we can come over to the Czech Republic and meet you one day. We are supposed to do a documentary there at some point, so it will happen. Right, so I'm going to flash up a question which we'll chat about, and then I'll go through some comments and flash them up that you guys are asking. So Ronan McConnell asked, what will our first beer be on Christmas Day? Bradley, what's your first going to be?
That's a very good question. I sort of want to, you know what? When I really got into craft beer originally, I really enjoyed a Brooklyn lager. So maybe on Christmas Day, I'll be wearing my Brooklyn lager style Milton Glaser t-shirt, and I'll crack open.
You can see it properly.
Can you even get it in bottle anymore? I mean, like, I'll crack a can of it. But I used to love drinking it out of a bottle. There's something great about it. It's just, it's just a classic. So maybe that, or Sierra. On
Christmas Day.
You are?
You drinking American beer on Christmas Day?
Yeah, I love America, yo. I'd be American. If they'd let me in, I'd be American for sure. I fucking love America. Brad for PM. How about Brad for president?
There you go. I set you up for that. I was like, I know what I need to put. Yeah, I'll be drinking. Probably my first beer of the day will probably now be at lunchtime. So I'll be drinking something lovely and sessiony. I've got the Utopian Tanner Lager. Utopian are also in our brewery to watch out for in 2021. They've got a Czech 4% lager that is 3.8% lager that is amazing. So I'll probably be drinking those while cooking Christmas dinner, and then I always have a saison du pont with Christmas dinner. I think it's the best match. Like the sweetness, the caramel that comes from the direct fire in the boil means that it's great with the gravy, with the roast turkey. The fact that it's got some citrus and spice cuts through the richer stuff. I think it's a tough thing to match a roast dinner. There's so much going on.
I was in my cabinet of doom earlier, Johnny, and I spotted a saison du pont right at the back. So
have you checked the doom?
That'll be featuring this 2020, Christmas 2020.
You gods. The super chat. We found you guys this year when we bought loads of beer to get through lockdown. Your videos have helped us stay sane. Thank you, Emma. You guys have helped us stay sane-ish this year. Sometimes I think that Brad's losing his mind, but that's the joy of being friends with Brad. I wouldn't change him for the world.
I mean, look at me. I look pretty weird right now, but hey.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the hair's doing. It's slowly turning into like a large.
It's showing up like this. I could make it really high, like a sort of weird crown. What does everyone think? Good. I might switch it to this guy. I got this when I went to Ohio with Brewdog on Brewdog Airlines. I bought this cheeky little number. This is an authentic cowboy
hat.
Yeah, Justified style. Like white, sharp, stiff brim vibes, but obviously tramp face.
I think you've got a bit of true grit. What's his face? Big Lebowski guy.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah. One of my all-time heroes, the dude.
Yeah.
Dude bites. Apparently, the dude's not well though. I heard he's unwell now.
I think he said he's got cancer, but I think they've caught it early. Yeah. I think he might be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We can't have a Johnny situation.
Hopefully not. Tom Green, what do you think the next popular style will be? IPA.
Yeah, I was Johnny. I was hoping you were going to say
lager,
something crazy again, like lager. Yeah, but at least you're kind of coming to terms with reality that it's always IPA.
I think what's going to change.
Mountain IPA. What do you reckon? Mountain IPA.
To some extent, I think bitterness is going to come back a little bit, and I also think the maltiness. I can see it like we're never going to have the year of the lager. I have admitted we're never going to have the year of the lager. However, I think there will be more appreciation of malt-forward beers and great use of malt. So more complexity in our malts. Less saying, hey, this is how we support the hops best, like with New England IPA. It's going to be how do we get delicious malt flavour in. So that could help West Coast IPAs come back. It could help, incredible lagers like this that have a bit more malt depth than, say, a pale lager. It could help beers like this, like this one. Yeah, there's loads of yeast ester. There's potentially spices. I can't remember whether some Bernarda spice there. So I don't think they do. But all of that flavour is coming from, banana, clove, spice from the yeast. And then, licorice, raisin bread, that kind of thing is all coming from the malt. And I think that hopefully appreciation of malt is going to increase.
Jumping Barrels is saying Westie's coming back.
I
wish it was. I love a West.
As big as New England IPA. New England IPA's changed everything. IPA now, if you say I want an IPA, people expect New England IPA. And now you're going to say I want a West Coast IPA. To get that, it's going to be the niche style of IPA. But they'll both, hopefully, the balance will address a little bit. And we can have, bitterness, maltiness, pine, resin, grapefruit, or you can have all-out juice.
I think we've missed the super chat, Johnny.
A rip-off Antique Roadshow. It does, yeah. The Christmas Village music that we used for this year has definite antique roadshow vibes, like dee 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 dee. But it's slightly.
I want to make light of the fact that I spotted a fucking Antiques Roadshow heirloom. I'm a bit of a autistic spectrum weirdo who spots everything, and like Ned's thing was legit. Thanks, love you too, Andy. That thing is legit, man. I love that. That's how I see the world. I look at things and I sort of see stuff that I think a lot of people don't notice. But I'd be a shit spy or something probably. But hey, sorry, Johnny.
No, don't worry. I was taking the piss out of you, so we'll just gloss over that. This is a great question. So going back to Ned's chat around PDO and protected cheeses, is there a beer in the UK that deserves protection, like Erdgers? I do think so. Belgian beer and cafe culture is UNESCO protected, and I do think. I'm torn about it, but I do think that potentially the cask method of serving, could do with UNESCO protection against some, a lot of it now, a lot of cask ale that you're drinking now is not true cask ale. It's not fermented in the cask, it's just pulled through a hand pull to look like it. And I think that as soon as you get people trying to mimic these things, they need protection. So potentially if there was a way of defining real ale like Camera has, and protecting that could be strong. But really the best way of protecting cask is to not make it like a fucking thatched cottage on a postcard. Like it's not a part of our heritage. I mean, it is, but it's a part of our future as well. And I think that's really important to state. But also, I think the best way to protect it is to destroy the beer tie and to make it profitable again. At the moment, it's very hard to make money through cask because people won't pay over £4 a pint. Whereas, we'll pay £8 for a double IPA in a can. But if you go to a cask ale place, you go, what? £4 for a pint of, expensive, well-made, beautiful local cask ale. I do it as well. That's not a dig at anyone. I'm still like, £4 for a cask ale. That's a bit much. So yeah, that's how we protect it, by being willing to pay a bit more, by focusing on quality, and by saying, modern beer can be served this way, and traditional beer is brilliant in this format as well.
Amen to that. I think we missed the super chat.
Did we?
Brad is King of the North. Fucking hell. I love it. I just bought a screen print that says it's grim up north. But that's about North London because I'm South London. But I love Northerners. I love Northern people. I think they're the nicest people going, to be honest. That's a lovely message, right?
Thank you. Wait a sec. Just as I flashed that up, echoing all sentiments tonight, this channel's been a key part of making 2020 tolerable. My browser automatically sends new YouTube comments to my desktop, and I've just got a really abusive message in one of our videos. So that's a nice juxtaposition of
the highs and the lows of the craft beer channel.
Exactly that.
Internet hate versus internet love.
Mark Provençal. Go fuck yourself.
Name and shame. Mark Provençal, you fucking penis. We're only trying to be nice people here and spread a bit of joy.
There you go.
Fuck you, you fucking fuck. You can pay that to the bank.
There we go. We came out on that one. So I'm just going back up to where the last question was from. There we go. Why are ABI suing you? They aren't yet, but we're a bit worried about this. But we think it's satire.
I'm not worried about it at all. It's satire, mate. It's allowed. Andy Warhol. Look at Andy Warhol.
Brad's going to stand up in court and go, it's satire, mate. I'm not worried about it.
It's pastiche. It's fine. It's fine. We're protected under UK law. Well, we were. I don't know now. Fucking Brexit and all this shite. But with our human rights, we were protected from artistic as artistic expression. That's
a better speech. That might work. Birdie says, what about a post-COVID live beer event, entrance fee beers? So exciting news. It hasn't been announced officially yet, but we can tell you guys, we are the media partners for Bigfoot Festival, which is a beer and music festival up nearish Birmingham. I think just north of Birmingham, a place called Ragley Hall. We're going to have our own tent there with our own events and all kinds of super cool stuff. So when that's all on sale, and once we've announced it, I'll send all the details to you. I've already negotiated a discount for Patreon supporters. So if you're a Patreon, you can get cheaper tickets. They won't be cheap. It's a music festival in 2021, but it'll be cheap.
Great music and all going on.
And great.
We're going to have a rodeo bull that you can ride in our tent. And we're going to have a Gabba rave night.
We're going to have a creative meeting about this, Bradley, but I don't know, Gabba, I could go with that.
I think the bull's more fun. Pissed up people trying to ride one of those bucking bronco things. That'd be amazing. Come on, let's do that.
I think we're the hangover tent, Brad. We're like the morning.
Are we the chill out tent?
What?
Are we the chill out tent? Are we where people go when they've burned out?
Yeah.
Because I've been at a few festivals where I've burned out. They've wrapped me up in the sort of silver blanket and gone, there, it'll be all right. You just gotta make it through the night. And
they're clutching your garden candle.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll get him next time.
Drinking roadmap, high to low, light to dark. Stout for breakfast, yes, 100%. Stout is the best breakfast beer.
It's a meal, isn't it, in a glass, to be honest?
Saison de Pont, I'll be drinking towards the end of the night. My tradition is Schneiderweiss Unser Aventinus, tap 6. It's a dunkel, taste of like dates and bananas all mashed up and caramelized. It's beautiful. And I'll probably have I have that with a mince pie, and then I usually have I don't know what I drink, but I always have a turkey sandwich at 10 p.m. Maybe I'm onto the spirits by that point. Maybe it's a port or something.
Am I allowed to have a milk stout on my Cocoa Pops in the morning on Christmas?
Yeah, absolutely. And Boxing Day. 2 days of the year you can do it.
Quality.
Great question from Pint Sized. If we were to start a channel away from beer, what would you go with? Brad, do you have a channel idea? Do you want to tell, or are you trying to keep that secret?
Which channel idea? What, my one from ages ago, or like a silly one?
No.
What the sort of the craft kind of thing? Yeah. So I'd love to make a channel which champions kind of craftsmanship in all its forms. So we're talking artisan makers here, people like letterpress printers, people that are working with archaic, Victorian machines, wooden typography, stuff like that. Sign painters that are traditionally hand sign painting. I'm fascinated by people that are, actually good at something and actually amazing at something and can make a living from it. Whether that be a shoemaker who makes incredible shoes in Northampton, or a guy that has a vintage store that Ralph Lauren and fashionistas come and look at his clothing archive and get inspiration from, and he sort of practices Japanese refurbishing of clothing, this sort of special art of patching denim and stuff. So I've got this whole sort of side project which I wanted to fire off in 2020, but it never actually happened. But it's all about, it's craft, but a sideways slant on craft. So I think why I love craft beer is I'm a pisshead and I love getting on it, but also it's about good times and being with a good friend. But I love the fact that passion makes greatness in anything you do, any pursuit you might pursue. Hang on, that's a terrible sentence. But anything that you love, you truly love, will produce something great, I think. And I'd like to explore that in all sorts of tangents. So that's what I do as a channel.
And I would help you with that. If we
Thanks,
could get
man. Yeah.
I think for me, I do a politics channel. If you follow my personal Twitter, you'd know I am deeply political. And YouTube is bizarrely and tragically an incredibly right-wing place, which, some of them are horrible people. Some of them are politically might have a point on many subjects, but, there's no response to that apart from, decent places like Novara Media. And it would be nice to have some some left wing, but also entertaining sort of political news and opinions. But we won't dwell down that because it's the Christmas party. But yeah, that's what I do. I am aware I'm getting so far behind in the comments. How do we come up with the CBC tagline? Drink yourself clever. I think we were drunk. I think it's the only thing to say.
It just seemed to make sense at the time, and I think it's quite a mantra, really. I mean, it's sort of nonsense, but at the same time, it's not, because we are drinking ourselves clever here as a community. I
think we're trying to do away when we've always tried to do away with the laddie get drunk culture of even craft beer. Kind of has that, like Beer Festival. Yeah. Oh, is that 10%? And we've always tried to get away from that and understand that when you drink beer, when you learn about beer, when you learn the processes, you're learning, you're learning science, you're learning biology, you're learning physics, and then also, you're learning philosophy and culture as you learn why different nations and cultures and races do it in different ways. And I genuinely see beer as a lens to understand humanity, and we don't say that a lot on the channel because it's ridiculous. But if you look at some videos we've done, like Chris at Green Bench, where we learned about racism in Florida in the 60s and 70s, or if you go to Belgium, where you learn about this incredible history, the same in Bavaria and the Czech Republic. You like Ned's book about the history of the British Isles through cheese. It's all interlinked. Have we ever collabed with the Beer O'Clock Show? A couple of times I've been on there. They tend to rightly support like lots of smaller voices and brewers and stuff. So we did 2 fairly early on in their lives. We probably about a year older than them, maybe, in terms of our channel and their podcast. But Steve and Martin, I meet for beers regularly in a normal year, and love them. Favorite style of Christmas beer? I try not to say I have favorite styles. My favorite Christmas beer is still a Nacht by the Dollar. It's like liquid panettone with a little bit of funk on it. I love it more than anything. I love that beer.
I quite like a comment. I haven't got control of the comments, but I like a comment from Corey Holbrook just now.
Yeah.
Can you see that one, Johnny?
I'm trying to find it. There are hundreds.
It's about 4 from the end.
There's a super chat there. Ninkasi is amazing beer. So good. One of Wild Beer's best. That's a great Christmas Day beer. Great morning beer. You could probably mix that with orange juice very effectively. Apple and orange together. Rich Mallet, one of my oldest friends, says, I hate this question and feel free to ignore. We can't ignore. It's a super chat. But what are your drunken thoughts on a potential no deal for the industry? No deal will kill tens of breweries. So many breweries in the UK rely exclusively on export. Prices will dip. Orders will get smaller because of the red tape involved, the uncertainty involved, the chances of paperwork being wrong and beer being confiscated. It will trash the value of the pound. It already has. If you look at pre-2016 and now, it will mean, so many brewers are from the continent. They're not British brewers. The people doing the actual digging out the mash tun, weighing the hops, adding it. So many of those people are not British in this country making that beer. It's an absolute fucking disaster for the production side of this industry. And then if you look at pubs, the actual serving side of this industry, most of the people serving your pint are not British. You know that. I know that. There's 1 million people employed in pubs. A third, maybe even half of them, are people here from other countries to travel, to explore, to find new places to live. And they're working in pubs because in other countries, the service industry is treasured. Here we laugh at it and it's horrible. And if they don't feel comfortable living here, either because the government doesn't think they should be here or because the population that voted for Brexit don't, then they're going to leave as well. And we've already seen it in nursing. I can't express how dangerous no deal would be for the British beer industry. It would be catastrophic, and it looks so likely. Thanks for bringing that up, Rich. What was the one you were looking for, Brad?
Corey Holbrook. He's about 6 from the end now, I think. He's above a cowboy from Sweden who says Gigolo Brad, obviously. I don't know what that means, but great. I love it.
Gigolo Brad. It's like a Barbie doll. We should release dolls.
No.
Brad.
I don't want to release those dolls. That's terrifying.
I think somebody's asked about favourite abusive comments because Pint Size has replied with, it was clear watching this review that this beer was too rich for your cheap lips. But if you see this,
damn. My favourite abusive comment was the one that said we're going to burn in hellfire forever or something.
Yeah, because I had X-Ales Brewing and they've got
a sort of vaguely Masonic logo.
Logo as part of their logo.
Yeah.
My favourite one was I got into a debate with a guy. He said fruit beer is for women and hipsters, to which I replied, like, beer isn't gendered. Don't be ridiculous. Men and women can enjoy beer. Also, I mean, hipsters, like, do you even know what that is anymore? And then I said, like, I, for one of my favourite beers is Creek. And he replied, just unsubbed, I have no time for a beta male who loves cherry beer.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying about a beta male shit.
I mean, yes, beta male, sure, but there's something wrong with being a beta male.
What's all that about anyway? He's measuring dicks or whatever in that sort of weird... I hate all that stuff. It's horrible, isn't it?
Alphabet. Yeah, it does seem weird, doesn't it?
Super weird. We're just out here just enjoying beer and talking. Well, I'm talking nonsense, but Johnny's telling some interesting factoids about beer, you know, along the way. So I'm always bamboozled by any sort of really horrible hate. Obviously, you get some trollage, but you know, like really horrible stuff. I'm like, it makes me feel a little bit sad. It doesn't get to me, but I just think we haven't done anything to deserve that. I don't know. We try and put out positivity into the world.
I know. And most of my comments, I try to be positive back, and that initially was. I was just like, hey, you know, there's no reason that women would prefer fruit beer or stuff. The only reason they would is because they haven't drunk a lot of beer beforehand, because society says women shouldn't drink beer, which is fucking nonsense. So fruit isn't inherently female. So why do you think Creek beer is? But he did not respond well. Bradman Hall Backroom Brewery. I've got a solo book coming out September next year, all about seasonality in beer, seasonality in drinking and in brewing. So it brings in food. It brings in, you know, in winter you're brewing spontaneous beer because the weather's cold enough. Bringing in Christmas beer, Easter beer, Oktoberfest now. It's quite UK based because otherwise, obviously, seasonal drinking depends where you're from. But yeah, that'll be out next September. We're always in talks about another craft beer channel book. We get approached quite a bit. We haven't got a concept and we haven't found a publisher that we love yet.
We've got an app concept, which if any of you out there are app developers, we've got something that's like ready to go, but we haven't got the nous to be developing it on our own.
Yep.
But I think it's potentially pretty enriching for worldwide beer lovers. And it'd be good to chat if anyone's in that sort of field.
If you're an app developer or know a talented one that loves beer, we would of course pay. Passionate and great at what they do. Andrew Rowe Merriman, if I'm not mistaken, you are our most important Patreon.
One of the oldest, right?
Oldest, and I think you're a $30 Patreon, which is the top tier if you're not a business. We need to do like a we are not worthy
Wayne's World
bounty. Thank you so much for all of your support over all the years. Thank you. Thank you. We love you. You're amazing. And thank you for doing another super chat. Like, honestly, you have paid for so many videos that we've done, and you're more a part of this than we are some days.
I'm up for a pint, Andrew, if you're ever in London, you know.
If we can buy you a pint, we'll buy you as many as we can. Thank
Big
you.
time. And a Scotch egg, a mandatory Scotch egg
Mandatory Scotch egg.
in these current lockdown times.
Yep. Right, so I think it's time for our final beer. Are you ready, Bradders?
I don't know if I'm ready, to be honest.
What?
Let's give it a go, eh? I really need a wee, but I'm not going to go now. I'm going to hang on in there.
You can go, because I'll pour, I'll chat nonsense about
Really?
it.
Okay. All right, I'll be back, guys. Sorry.
How awkward can we make this? No. So, on Apollo. I have a love-hate relationship with this brewery. I love drinking what they make. I love their branding and their approach. They see beer as a form of art, so they dress it as much. They make sure that all of their beers pose questions and try to cause debate or try to, kind of question everybody else's brewing. And at the same time, particularly Hennock, who's sort of the beer side of it, not the branding side of it, is also a massive beer geek. Me and him have chatted about how much we love lager, about beer culture, plenty. And some of their beers are just a bit too much for me and not close enough to what I would call sort of craft. But every now and then, they just make sensational stuff. And this beer, I think, is going to blow some socks off. And we hope to do a video with Omnipolo soon and, ask those questions, debate it all, and they will be well up for that. They always are. So this is in plenty. I think Brad's going to like this one with his sweet tooth.
Trying to get a bloody camera to focus on it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nope.
Oh my God. Just pure dark chocolate.
Whoa.
Proper quality cacao nib aroma. Nothing fake about that. Smells amazing. Okay, it smells like you could crack it. Like you could just it smells so good. So good.
It's really biscuity. It's like a chocolate biscuit from just on the nose. Like but like the most intensely not like a milk chocolate, like a real bad boy. Like a sort of some sort of artisan non-factory sort of chocolate. Yeah,
it's legit strong dark chocolate, quality dark chocolate. It's not remotely synthetic. Oh, it's a fucking beer. Oh, for me, if I was being really critical, you take that down 1 or 2 gravity points, dry it out just a shade more, and I'd call that stone cold stunner.
I love it's like the bitterness of a cocoa, like a hot cocoa from the 1980s. It's fucking amazing. That's making me think of childhood with cocoa powder and all that sort of stuff. I'm sort of lost for words.
It's one of those beers that, another sort of tagline, we've never made a tagline of it, that I say is like, the more we know about beer, the more we can shut the fuck up and enjoy it. And, it's one of those beers that I think a lot of people would try to deconstruct. They're like, well, it's Omnipolo, I've got to talk about it. But you don't. It's just, it's liquid. It's cold cocoa. But it's made clearly with, I think, I'd love to know where they got the cacao nibs. I'd love to know the origins of that. But not huge amounts of coconut. But I don't care. It's just all cacao nib. I think it's great. I should say at this point, I think everybody got in plenty. I hope they did. Unfortunately, basically, our boxes sold out so fast this time that not everybody got exactly the same boxes. So you may have had some different beers along the way. So I apologize for that. And I hope you still had an amazing night and still really enjoyed the beers that were in there. 2 or 3 beers might have shifted depending on when you bought it. But hopefully you all got in plenty because it's absolutely killer. It's pure silliness. And it's it's why we should never be snobs about beer, because, you know, lots of people would write Omnipollo off. They'd never drink it, but they're missing out on pure joy like this, pure dessert in a glass.
That's my beer of the night, mate. Honestly, I'm sort of, I feel wary to admit this, but last night I got pretty drunk, and then I bought a box of Cadbury Celebrations. No, a tub of Cadbury Celebrations, and then I proceeded to sit in front of the TV, and I think I ate half a box of Cadbury Celebrations, and then felt quite ill this morning. But I'm a massive. I love chocolate. I fucking love chocolate. And even if that's sort of cheap and nasty chocolate, I was so into it. The crunchy one is really good. There was a chocolate egg one. Whisper is an underrated chocolate bar.
I agree. There's something about the texture of it.
Whisper's like the chocolatiest of the Cadbury's chocolates.
Which is mad, because it's got less chocolate than a dairy milk.
It's magic. It's got that nth degree thing. Like an Aero bar is insanely minty. The minty Aero bar is like the mintiest minty chocolate ever. In like a subtle mint, not like in a like, oh, that's like a real mint, but in like a sort of
not
chocolate mint flavor. But like the bubbles in it are insane. I love it. Whisper.
We got a comment, or maybe this is the same person, or maybe you saw the comment. But somebody said, I look like Ben Foster, I guess the English goalkeeper, and that you look like Oliver Reed.
Fair play.
I mean, yeah. At least
he was quite this hairy, was he? But,
nothing bad ever happened to Oliver Reed, right? That didn't go wrong.
There's great Des O'Connor. If anyone, I think maybe it's Parkinson. Where if you type in on YouTube Oliver Reed Parkinson interview, he literally does a fucking judo roll on when he gets introduced. He rolls onto set and he comes out of it, and then he goes like, "Wah!" And then he does this mad sort of dance thing. He's fucked. He's like, obviously he's a full-blown alcoholic, but you know, it's kind of dark, but it's also like, whoa, that guy's intense. He was a great actor.
He was.
Intensity, you know, like he got an intensity from his sort of madness that was pretty powerful. So you know, intensity's good. I like intensity.
Have you had anything? So John Hoth is asking, any up and coming stuff in London? Have you had any great new London breweries, Brad?
No, I tell you what, like Brick being South London and sort of having not quite written Brick off, but like years ago going out in Peckham and going to Brick, I was like, nah, it's not great. But having filmed there maybe at the start of this year and just getting back.
It was July we filmed.
Yeah, getting back in with Brick and what they're up to these days, and their sort of sour program and their artist program. I sort of fell in love with them again. I think they're brilliant. I really do. I think they're very underrated.
They're one of those breweries that are more known for their core range. So then, slightly dismissed by beer geeks because you're like, well, yeah, it's fine, it's good beer, but it's not exciting me. But their seasonal range, like we had a brilliant 6-month aged lager, Keller Pills.
Yeah,
sour fruited beers are incredible, so balanced, so flavorful. And then we had a great double IPA by them. I think they're massively underrated.
They've got serious brewing chops.
Yeah,
and it's probably, I don't know whether it's the fact that they're in Peckham and like there's a lot of sort of trendy cool shit in Peckham, and people think like, oh, it's silly because it's from Peckham. I don't know what it is, but it, you know, me as well, like I'm included, I sort of wrote them off a little bit, and I feel guilty about that. After you know, being re-immersed in it. Yeah, it was fucking great. So yeah, I'd say Brick are awesome. You know, if you're not drinking Brick, go and drink some Brick. Go to the tap room. It's easy to get to. It's underneath Peckham Rye railway station in one of the archways. Yeah.
I'd 100% say Brick. I think a lot of people underrate them. I'd also say that one of my favorite breweries in the world is Pressure Drop, and they've gone leaps and bounds. Now they make like tasty New England IPAs and stuff, but I still love their West Coast stuff. Alligator Tugboat, Bosco. I think they make brilliant West Coast stuff and great Imperial Stouts as well. All their Imperial Stouts are a little bit lower. They're like 8.5%, 9%. Loaded with flavor, but never overdone, always balanced. I just think they're the best. Modern brewery.
Big time. Like making this book a couple of years ago, when we went and met all those boys, it was an absolute pleasure. And, seeing them over in Hackney and what they were up to back then and how they've sort of grown and progressed from there, I think it's great. It's a wonderful journey. And they're super nice guys. Like, they're over at like Beavertown sort of way now, aren't they?
They're right opposite Beavertown. And then up there now, you've got Hackney Brewery, make great beer. They're about to move there. You've got Wildcard, Exhale, Signature. I'm missing somebody. Oh, yeah, I'm missing somebody on purpose. I won't even say who. Shit, London brand making crap cask ale and really bad keg beer. But that's turning into a little location as well, which is... So you can do Pressure Drop, Beavertown if you're okay with the Heineken thing. We're not. Redemption, who make brilliant beer, and then you can go to those places. Then you can walk across the nature reserve, and you can go to Wildcard, Exhale, Hackney Beer, and Signature, and have a really great time.
It's the alternative beer mile, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they're trying to call it the Black Horse Beer Mile. Yeah, that's what they're going for. Right, we've got some super chats. Thank you guys for CBC. So grateful that we discovered your channel during a difficult, uncertain year. You brought us so much joy and we've learned lots. Merry Christmas to you, Jen and Ben.
Merry Christmas.
And then Andrew Burns. We will give a shout out to Andrew and Iona for introducing you to the channel. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. I hope it's the start of a long, beautiful, and slightly confused relationship.
I know an Iona, but I'm guessing this isn't the same Iona I know.
No, there must be lots of them in the world, Brad.
Well, I don't think so. Iona's a small Scottish island. So anyone named after that is probably from Scotland, I imagine.
Sorry, you own a Scottish small island?
No, I wish. That'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be like sort of a Bond villain style. No, Iona is an island in Scotland, I believe.
You own an island?
Shut up, Johnny. I don't own an island. Stop spreading those vicious rumours.
Oh, I wish you did. Love Weird Beard. They still make great beer. Fuck You, I Won't Brew What You Tell Me was the best double IPA of last year. They still make great beer. Their branding, I think, has held them back. I think the branding's cool, but not everybody does. That's the issue. West London does indeed need more solid breweries. I would say, well, they're not really West, but Mondo, who are Clapham, I think Clapham. So
Southwest,
Westy, have really upped their game, and they're making some pretty good beer now. I'd written them off for a long time, and they've really turned a corner. Whether it's a new brewer or new process or new kit, something's changed, and a lot of their beers are tasting great.
I like Rich Harper's image there, which is brass eye, bit of Chris Morris.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Top stuff.
Black lager. So I wouldn't call this a trend, but there's a couple of lager breweries making it. So Manchester Union, I know Will, one of the owners, really well. They make beautiful beer. I haven't had that one, but I'm sure it's great. I also had Utopian Brewing's Black Lager, Cern or Chern, which is a Czech style of very dark lager, was also great. Utopian make Czech style beers with British ingredients, which means every now and then you get a little bit of earthy roughness from the British hops. But I think it worked with the Churner, not quite sure how you pronounce it, Cerne. And and their tenor, like we talked about earlier, is fucking amazing. They're one of the breweries to watch in terms of the lager space, and they're learning all the time and working out what's kind of best to produce using all British ingredients. And they're working on getting British hops to emulate the I won't get too technical. The emulate Czech malt. They're working on that with Warminster malt. So should be some great stuff coming out of them very soon. We're not treating ourselves to a Bourbon County 2020 this year. To be honest, I love that beer, but it's AB InBev, so we try not to support them too much. Usually they send us it for free, and they haven't this year. Maybe it's this.
Fallen out of favour. Yeah, cool with that.
I don't know.
Someone asked earlier what my T-shirt meant. Not to keep banging on about it.
Yeah, go for it.
But, you know, someone said, what does it mean? Milton Glaser designed Brooklyn Brewery's logo. He died this year. He's one of my... I'm a graphic designer, and he's probably one of my favourite graphic designers. So he came up with I Love New York, which is probably the most replicated graphics ever, potentially. And sort of, you know, pastiche and evolved and taken on to different things like I love whatever, cheddar cheese or whatever it might be, craft beer, whatever it might be. So this is just my sort of little homage to my gateway beer into craft beer, which was Brooklyn Lager. And Milton Glaser, who's my all-time graphic design hero, he died this year. So that's what the T-shirt means to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Brad, do you know who Demi Rousseau is?
No, but I get Jack Whitehall because I thought that quietly to myself and never said it.
Yeah, there's echoes of Demi Rousseau.
Who the fuck is Demi Rousseau? Is that a lady?
Greek singer, it would seem. No male.
Okay, cool. He obviously sounds like a legend.
Like you, but
hang on, let's have a look. So he look. Oh yeah, no, hang on. I know.
Once he gets the longest.
Shit. Okay, that totally makes sense. There's an album cover which she's wearing a white sort of Stetson hat, like I'm wearing right now. Yeah, I do look like Debbie Russo this evening, or like Matt Berry sort of rocks this sort of vibe sometimes. I think
Can do. Apparently, you don't know Iona. He is Scottish, so you were half right.
I got that right at least. I know an Iona McHale from sort of Glasgow way. His brother is the chef at what are they called? They're like the top 2 restaurant in the world in London. I can't remember what they're called. It'll come to me later. I don't know what they're called. His name's Isaac McHale. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Carlos Velez. Carlos Velez says we've seen a small surge in black IPA. Anybody else want to see an Imperial Red IPA? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. So, you know, when I say that multi-beers might have a comeback, I don't even necessarily mean we're just going to see lots of multi-beer. I mean that IPAs, you know, that have a real malt backbone to them might start to come back. And that's come back with black IPA. I've seen some red IPAs. When we did our Siren live show, there was a red IPA. Things like the dark lagers, things like West Coast IPA coming back, because people forget the West Coast IPA isn't just more bitter and different hops. It's a totally different malt bill. There's very little wheat involved. There's definitely no oats. There could be caramel. There could be Munich. All this kind of complexity that we've not lost, but just shifted through New England IPA towards wheaty, oaty body and, you know, clean cracker style malt, and we're getting back to caramel biscuit. So I'd love to see more of that, and hopefully there will be. And we'll get back to more of this original, like American brew pub style, where you'd go in and it would be 10 different styles of beer from the same brewery. And that was really exciting. And you drink your way through and have a little taste adventure. It's a shame when I go to a bar, and like a craft beer bar, and it's 7 New England IPAs, 2 Imperial Stouts, and a sour. And you're like, okay, well, I'll have a New England IPA to start, a West Coast IPA next, and an Imperial Stout to finish. And you just go through the same journey every time. And, that's great. The beers are delicious, but we're on a flavour adventure. And it'd be great to see that back.
Ben Dawson said that Demi Russo was in a band with Vangelis. Vangelis is one of my all-time musical heroes. I love electronic music, and the Blade Runner soundtrack is perfect and poetic as fuck. So, I've just Googled their association together, and they look like the coolest fuckers from the 1970s ever. One of them looks like Pavarotti, and the other two look like they're in the Bee Gees, like the more attractive Bee Gees. So yeah, I'd love to be in a band with Vangelis, if that was at all a possibility. I think he might be dead now. I have no idea. What do you reckon, Johnny?
Yeah. Here's a great question. What was your craft beer epiphany? Go on, brothers.
It was this, wasn't it? It was that. Oh, hello. It was that, yeah. When I
Brad was on a coffee table and accidentally downed a bottle of Brooklyn.
Well, hang on, let me think. So I went to art school in London, and I got a job out of my degree show, which is sort of unheard of. Like most artists, they don't get a job straight away. But I had MTV knocking at my door and Jamie Oliver, and I decided to go with Jamie Oliver because he offered me, I think he offered me a year contract where MTV wanted me to animate idents and stuff for their channels, but they only offered me a 6-month contract. So I went and worked for Jamie Oliver, and I think the first Christmas party I went to, how long was that? Probably 6 months after I was there. I didn't know anything about beer. I'm 38 now, which is old, and I was probably 21 or something then. And I was introduced to Brooklyn Lager at a Christmas party. Prior to that, I'd probably been drinking, terrible ciders, not even good ciders, like rubbish cider. And I drank a lot of ale, actually. I was drinking ale. I was drinking real ale. But, it really blew my mind because I looked at this bottle and I thought, well, that's beautiful. Like graphically, I was like in love with it. And then I tried it and I thought, it doesn't taste like any lager I've ever tried before. It was malty and delicious, and it's I found out it was a Vienna style lager, and then that's where it all began for me. I was like, well, this is great. I need to sort of explore this more. So I can thank celebrity chef Jamie Oliver for bringing me into the world of craft beer. There you go.
There you go. For me, it was there's two moments. One was at a pub I still don't live that far away from, called the Stag in Hampstead, where I had Long Hammer IPA, which is a very middle of the road West Coast IPA from Seattle. They're part of CBA, which also owns Kona. Widmer Brothers. Sorry, Red Hook weren't from Seattle. They were further south. But it was just, I'd never had citrus, pine, that kind of sherbety combination of like caramel and lemon together. And it blew my mind. And the tap was a massive hammer. That blew my mind. And then also in 2010, the year they founded, I had a Camden Hells. Me and my 3 friends who I lived with in London, we were all studying for our finals, all were sick of it. And we all, at one point, like we all did, went, fuck it, we're going to the pub. Went to the Horseshoe in Hampstead, which is where Camden Town started, and had a Camden Hells. And we're like, what the hell is this malty, bitter, bready, lemony beer? And absolutely loved it. And then I had Brooklyn Lager at the Lexington in King's Cross. I remember somebody giving me Duchess. Somebody asked about Flemish Reds. I love Flemish Reds. Somebody who found out I'd started getting into beer was like, well, this will fuck you up. And it did. Super weird beer. if you're just getting into beer, like tasted like balsamic vinegar. Tasted like balsamic vinegar, but was so drinkable. And that was it for me. And then somebody also asked how me and Brad met. I started working for Jamie Oliver. So Brad left for a bit and went to work for a great TV production company. And then I joined Jamie Oliver in 2014 as a copywriter and editor for like his books, his websites, all kinds of stuff. And then Brad rejoined 2016, 17?
No idea now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how me and Brad met. So we were working in the same office. Brad on the creative design team, me on the creative word side. And we started going to the Old Fountain in Old Street. Still one of the best pubs in the world. Amazing food, amazing beer, amazing people. Sadly, the owner who we knew died just over a year ago. But his son now runs it. And they've been offered millions because they're right on the Silicon Roundabout, right in one of the most, it's like the technology hub of London. And it's just this little pub sandwiched in between these giant glass buildings. And I still drink there quite a bit whenever I can. It's a beautiful place. And that's where the Craft Beer Channel was founded. Me, Brad, and a guy called Jim, who was also at Jamie Oliver, who left quite quickly because having a family and doing this job does not compute. Drinking lots, traveling lots, Saturday evenings like this. So yeah, that's how we met.
Just as a little callback to, was it Mick? Wasn't it? Is it Mick? I can't remember his name.
It'll be in there. Brain.
Hang on.
Killed it.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a family boozer for him. They had some blood in the game, didn't they? They'd been there a while, I think.
He got offered $4.5 million to sell his pub to a developer in 2015, and he didn't. He went, no, there's not enough pubs like this in the East End anymore, so fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, this was a labour of love, wasn't it, Johnny? We went around together. I think we became much better friends making this book. You know, photographing it and you writing it and everything as we went. And it's a beautiful book. I still think it holds up incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean,
the beer books going really.
18 breweries, 23 pubs, and we just have stories of them all. So even though a couple of them are closed, even though lots of them have changed, I see it as like a snapshot of London beer. And I genuinely think that in like 20, 30 years' time, people will look back as a historical reference to see who the people were, what they were doing. That's Lowlander. If you're ever in Covent Garden and need a good beer, which is hard to find, go to Lowlander. There's no there or the Harp. That's it. That's the only place you can drink in Covent Garden. And we did the Harp as well in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's great. Love this. It's a bloody excellent book for anyone who wants to buy a beer book for Crimbo. Not to plug it, and then obviously that's our other beer.
Right way. Yeah, there we go.
But I won't go. You know, these are available on Amazon and whatnot. Johnny, you're writing a book, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, well, yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, I'm writing a book right now about seasonal drinking. It's going to be a while though, and we do need to do another Craft Beer Channel book. There has been talk about doing a sequel to Beer School. We need the concept firmed up. And honestly, if you have an idea, put it in the comments or go on our Discord and let us know. Can I also we have 4 comments from people saying they've just joined our Patreon. So bless you all.
Wow. That means the world, honestly. Thank you.
After we're done here, I'm going to jump to the Discord and just say hi to everyone and finish the drinks that I've got open. I've got a tiny bit of Bernardus and quite a lot of the Omnipollo left. Right, so I'm so far through these comments now. So I think probably we're now 3 hours in, so we'll probably start to wind it down. I hope that's all right. It's been what a year. I meant to do a little summary of the year for this show because it's our last live show. We've still got next Wednesday is our Christmas non-live show. So we taste the best beers of Christmas for the year, have a little chat about how the year's gone, have a debate about whether you should kill somebody with a chocolate orange or a Toblerone, all the important stuff. Actually, tomorrow we have a surprise video going out about Scotch eggs because we're always hot on the topic of last week's news. And then we should have a final podcast for you Friday, 5 p.m. next Friday, and then we're done. But I mean, this year, so at the start of this year, I put together a plan for Craft Beer Channel, a business plan, like profit we needed to make, content we needed to produce, growth we needed to see in subscribers and in views, Patreon growth, how many new Patreons we needed. And we have absolutely smashed every single target. Not because of stuff that we did. Like maybe doing more homebrew stuff was great, but I don't know what's happened, but we found a real vein of gold in lots of amazing people who love what we do and love talking about what we do and who we love to chat to. And it means that, this year we've had nearly half of our views now of all time have come this year in these 12 months.
Critical mass. We've hit critical mass, Johnny. That's what it is.
And I'll do some tweets. I'll tweet the actual statistics of it. I always do it just before the end of the year. But the most important thing is currently we are slated to, on the 31st of December, we should hit 100,000 subscribers.
My feeling is we'll hit it sooner than that, but I love it. I love the synchronicity of that, hitting a new year and a new milestone. That's kind of poetic and beautiful.
Yeah. I really hope it happens on the 31st, so that we can end this year on a massive high. Hitting 100,000, I don't know what happens really at 100,000, but there's sort of folklore around it. Once you hit 100,000, it becomes easier to find subscribers. You get into this sort of slight VIP club on YouTube. There's only 25,000 channels around the world that have reached that. So it's not many. No, 250,000 maybe. I'll check. But what it means is we get our own account manager at YouTube. So they can help us grow, help us with our content, help us get it right. And we get a little badge, a little wall mount, basically.
Plug.
A plaque.
A play button.
But so what we're really hoping is, this hitting 100,000, in most things, it's the same as hitting 99,000. But actually with YouTube, it means that we'll finally have direct contact with YouTube, and we can really start to grow this. And we really want you guys to be part of that. We really want you guys to be part of our Discord forum, be part of the comments, be liking, be sharing, so that we can, while we grow, reach the right people. Because like our Brewdog video, which got nearly 200,000 views, is brilliant. All of the abuse we get now is on that video.
Yeah.
And we're like, we want to hit the right people, not the people that are there clicking most alcoholic beer, let's get fucked up. And the way that we grow this channel is through word of mouth with all of you lovely people. So we were planning a big party to thank everybody that subscribes to us. That won't be able to happen at the 100,000 subs mark, and we've had some comments saying we should do this. We will have a 100,000 subscriber party next year once it's safe, 100% safe, not just like safe for some people to come. We want everybody, if you live in fucking Australia and you've been looking for an excuse, we will have that party and we will do it once travel is open. So that's going to be the end of 2021. So we're going to build to that, see how far we can grow, but hopefully have an amazing celebration of the fact that a tiny niche has managed to grow this kind of audience, which is just nuts. We don't brag about this a lot, but we're views-wise bigger than I think any other beer website, other than like the Untaps and the Rate Beers where you're rating. So there's such community we could tap into. It could be amazing, and that's what we want to do, digitally or physically. So yeah, big party halfway or 2/3 of the way through next year. We'd love you all to come. And we're going to travel next year again as soon as we can as well, and do meetups and everything, and do the stuff that we wanted to do this year as we really grew and got it right. So yeah, I've just waffled for about 10 minutes, having said we're going to close here. But thank you for all the good luck that I'm just seeing in the comments as I waffle on. Honestly, so much of it is down to you guys, financially or just spiritually supporting this. Like, every comment we get is a joy, so please keep commenting. Every like we get helps us in the algorithm, so please keep liking and get that conversation going. It's been, business-wise, the best year of my life. I've never had so much fun working, and it's been a real lifesaver in what has been, for everybody, the most horrific year.
Yeah, I mean, my hopes for this year were just that we made it slightly better than it could have been for a few people out there, and I hope that we've, through our medium, we've touched some people, and we've extended our good vibes, for a better word, around the world. Because I think we just need a bit of positivity right now. So what we're always coming from a place of love and positivity, and we just want to spread goodwill. And I think it's Christmas time. It's the time of goodwill to all men. What's better than being a bit merry and subbing to our channel if you haven't already.
Yeah. So guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please do enjoy it. We've got some massive plans, a massive partnership, hopefully being planned for 2021, which will change everything for us and for the content we make. So it could be a really big 2021, but it wouldn't be anything without you guys. So thank you for everything, all the support you've given us. And it's so heartening to hear that we've helped you guys through a tough year. We're going to jump to the Discord forum for a little bit, have a couple of beers, just relax and answer some questions, have a chat with all our Patreons. If you're not a Patreon, please do join patreon.com/craftbeerchannel. For $1, you can get access to our wonderful little niche of beer geeks. So positive, so excited about everything that's happening and sharing all the knowledge. But otherwise, we'll be back. So we've got content next week. We've got a video tomorrow, a video on Wednesday, 2 podcasts next week to round it off, and then we'll be back on the 6th of January with the ones to watch, trends and breweries to watch in 2021, which I started 2020 by saying I've got a good feeling about this year. Better feeling.
Oh, God.
A better feeling about 2021 than we had in 2020. But it's still going to be rough. So wear your masks, obey the rules, protect frontline workers and the vulnerable, and we will get through this, and pubs and breweries will get through this, and with amazing communities like this, we'll all get through it. So I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow for some chat about Scotch eggs, or next year. Brad, is there anything to add?
I also love you all, and stay safe out there. It's not over yet, but hopefully we're getting there, and we just got to keep our chin up just a little bit longer. And I think all the people that have come to the channel that are new to beer, welcome to the wonderful world of silliness and great flavors. And, we're all going to have a great party in 2021. And, once we can all get out there in the world again, let's all go and support all these little independent businesses. That's what it's all about, really. Have you started in there?
Simpson?
Never.
Yeah, guys. Merry fucking Christmas. Have an amazing time. We will see you guys on the flip side for another live show. And we love you guys and gals so much. And cheers for tonight.
Ching.
To Discord.
To Discord.